That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
A mix of clouds and sunshine going through our Monday afternoon. Hot and very humid. Couple of scattered thunderstorms still lingering. 92 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm and humid, 78. Tuesday, sunny, hot and humid, 97. 79 for the low on Tuesday night. The city may only get down to 82. Wednesday, sunny, hot and humid, near 100. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
When you face storms like we've had last night and again today, if you have Rhino Shield, you don't much have to worry about the side of your house. Number one, it's waterproof, so whatever rain hits it is going to just bounce off. You don't have to worry about that. When we had that hail recently, the homes with vinyl siding got crushed. I mean, holes punched in the side of it. And the ones with Rhino Shield, it pretty much just bounced off. And my friend Darren has the pictures to prove that. So you've got a product that's 8 to 10 times thicker than regular paint. It hardens like a ceramic shield. It protects whatever's on the outside of your home. And you get a 25-year warranty. 25 years. You don't have to worry about going outside in the heat and scraping and painting or paying somebody else to do it every 4 or 5 years. You're fixed. You're covered. You get that warranty. You can transfer it to the next owner as well. Call Darren today. Let him give you a free evaluation on this beautiful product on your home. 877-25-RHINO. Or online at 877-25rhino.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
Point Pest Control is reminding you it's time to spray for mosquitoes. How can something that tiny interrupt your outside gatherings? Have Point Pest Control spray today so your next outside gathering is mosquito-free. 636-798-0023. Mention Annie to save an additional 10%. PointPestControl.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Happy Monday. Welcome to the Annie Fry Show. Glad to be here with you today. The YouTube live chat poll for today is, are you watching the 2024 Olympics? Yes or no? We want to know what you think about that. And I know that your answer to that question might have been different on Friday before you saw the actual opening ceremonies. I did not know that I'm not an Olympics person. I think that is the precursor to anything that I'm going to say. It's really easy to be like, I'm going to boycott, for me, fish. I don't like fish. I don't eat fish. I don't seek out fish. I'm not looking for the opportunity. So if I'm going to make a strong stand and say I'm not going to participate in the eating of fish, that's not really a sacrifice for me. So with that being said, I'm not mad at the Olympics, but I also do not make time for the Olympics, generally speaking. Respect the athletes. I have a massive amount of respect for the athletes and what it takes to train to be among the very best. So where was I when this was going on? I guess I came across a lot of the opening ceremonies via Twitter, and I was like, excuse me? What? It's clearly what I'm seeing. You have to be very, very cautious about coming across something on X and scrolling through and seeing a video, and your memes are really good. Deep fakes are really good. Cheap fakes aren't nearly as good as Corinne Jean-Pierre needed them to be. But here you are scrolling through the internet, and you see something, and you're like, holy smokes, what is going on here? So I'm looking into it a little bit more, and I'm thinking to myself, this looks like an orgy. That's just the first impression. That's without audio, which eventually I got to a place where I could turn the audio on. And of course, it's mostly in French. So the audio didn't really lend to me context outside of the fact that it did seem a little more realistic. So I'm consuming these. I mean, to me, it just looked like a drag show at the Olympics. And then it, of course, culminated in the scene that everybody is saying referred to the Last Supper. To my knowledge, Brad, nobody has come out and said, we were trying to depict the Last Supper. Nobody from the Olympics has come out and said.
Nobody has said that.
Nobody has said, you're correct.
That's what we were trying to do.
Nose goes, this was our depiction of the Last Supper.
No, they have not come out and said that. They did issue an apology. Sorta.
No, they didn't. They said, we're sorry if your feelings were hurt. Which, when you're the one who has hurt feelings, that apology feels great.
Amazing.
It's always like, we're sorry you're so weak that you were so sensitive that this offended you. They don't say, we're sorry we did it. They're not sorry they did it. No. They doubled down and they said that they were successful in depicting what they wanted to depict. Now, let's break this apart a little bit. I'm not going to be... I had multiple people. I wasn't really going to talk about this initially because going back to basically the first thing I said today on the show, I'm not really an Olympics person. And it's not like an anger thing. I just got a lot going on in my life. I don't have time to sit down and watch it. Every once in a while, like if we have a series of rainy days, I just don't have a lot of downtime in the evenings anymore running kids around and stuff. We don't have the time to commit to seeing the full competition. So there's not enough time for me to get invested. Am I Team America? Yes. USA. But I had multiple people this weekend say, are you going to talk about this on your show? Are you going to talk about this on your show? And my initial response was, no, I thought to myself, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pretend the Olympics don't exist. I'm going to go into this like it never happened. I'm going to suck the oxygen out of the room from noon to 3 on 97.1 and say, moving on. I'm not interested. It just seems, okay. If I'm leveling with you, I don't like arguments or social disagreements where the sides are already chosen for you and you can only select one. I want to be able to look at something and assess it for myself, analyze it for myself, come to my own conclusion, and have it be mine. I don't want a predetermined, you're this or you're that, and I am forced to choose one of those things. And then if I come into the conversation later and I'm not incredibly passionate about like the Olympics, if that's the foundation that we're having this discussion on, then I feel kind of like, what am I doing here? I'm arguing for a predetermined outcome. Does anybody think I'm going to come onto the show today and be like, the French got it right? The French, they really nailed that one. Nobody thinks that. Nobody who's listened to the show thinks I'm going to come on and talk about that. But maybe there are people who are predetermined that they think I'm going to come on here and make a valiant stand for Christianity and to condemn the French or the Olympics. I mean, like, I think that there are probably people, French Christians, who are pretty disgusted with what they saw. So I don't think you can be like, this is on the French.
Mm.
It's probably broader than that. So I wasn't going to talk about it. I wasn't going to discuss it. I was just going to pretend, like Facebook and Meta does, that the Trump assassination just attempt didn't happen. Or just going to be like that. They get away with it. Can I get away with it? And more people kept asking me, Annie, are you going to talk about this? I'm more interested in focusing on the parameters that are set up around an argument. I want to know those parameters before I participate in the argument. And I would take you back to last week. I don't know if it was I think it was Friday, Brad, when we were talking about the border czar.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Friday? I think it was Friday.
Yeah.
And everybody's up in arms because now all of a sudden Kamala Harris isn't the border czar. They said she was the border czar then, but now she's not the border. Who cares what you call it? What you call it has no bearing whatsoever on what it actually was. And in a sense, I believe that the left knows that they are torched when it comes to the Biden-Harris administration's handling of the border. They know that that is a losing issue for them, so they have to make it so that anytime that issue comes up, it's about something other than their actual action on the issue. So no, it's not really a good look to say, well, Kamala Harris was the border czar, now we're going to pretend she wasn't. But it's better than you talking about what that administration actually did regarding the southern border. So they take an issue, they reframe the parameters of the argument that automatically exists surrounding that issue, and they shine the spotlight over here where it's not like the best thing for Kamala Harris, but it sure is better than her actual record handling the southern border and the words that have come out of her mouth regarding what should happen with the people who are coming here, people who are here, how she would handle it. They do not want you to talk about that. So they get everybody to fight over whether or not she's the border czar. It's a stupid argument. It doesn't matter. I mean, I can completely concede that Kamala Harris is not and was never border czar and still fully make the point that she is incredibly incapable of leading this country as the commander-in-chief and that she has been a party of two in what I believe to be treasonous acts of opening our southern border for political purposes that they feel they will solely gain from. Don't need the name border czar in there anywhere. What does this have to do with the Olympics? What does this have to do with the opening ceremony conversation? I am a self-identified broken and disgusting sinner, saved by Jesus. That is my faith. That is my belief. That makes me a Christian. And I preface my identification as a Christian to tell you that I know that I am a broken sinner because that's what Christianity is. The covering of an infinite multitude of sins by somebody who can do that and is qualified to do that, because never would I ever be able to do that for myself. I am not perfect. I am not good. But I have been made to be. So with that being said, yes, I'm an identified Christian. That's my faith walk. I can see a lot of faith walks out there that are not Christians who would have take issue with the Olympic opening ceremonies for a lot of the same reasons, and then they kind of depart in the theology of that, or how, at least in an earthly way, the law states that we should handle sin, just in general sin. Is the word bacchanal? Is that how you say that? That's what they are calling what was depicted there. They're saying it wasn't directly supposed to be the Lord's Supper. So in this instance, in my mind, for the sake of argument, broadly, whether or not they were depicting the Lord's Supper or not, that is the border czar of this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can say, no, we weren't. And we can say, yes, you were. To which they say, no, we weren't. And we say, yes, you were. And that is a cycle that takes up time and oxygen and space while we're not discussing the actual issue at hand. What actually happened? So what we have heard them say is that and there's a lot of posts out there right now about this is what Greek history is and French history, and they're trying to talk about all of these things that are applicable to the moment in time from a historical standpoint. But then we're also marrying the understanding that this is a spotlight, a reflection of Greek Olympic history married with French history. But then we hear that the person who put the show together was very, very important that he focus on the idea of inclusivity, inclusion, to show that all people can enjoy the Olympic Games. Which is a side note. Yes, all people can enjoy the Olympic Games, but there is really not a more exclusionary global event than the Olympics to say, no, you are the best in the world. You are better than everybody else at discus or running or swimming or diving or whatever it might be. A bacchanal is, and that's what they said that they were showing. And if you listen to this description, I'm reading it from Google, a very right-leaning entity. If you listen to this description, you can understand how just through the basic visual of what we are talking about here, we're talking about a party, a festival, a meal, of which the Lord's Supper was definitely a meal. I wouldn't really necessarily say it was a party. I mean, there was an impending tragedy that was about to take place, and the person at the center of that picture knew that that was about to take place, and he was telling people it was about to take place. But what they were saying they were trying to throw back to the Roman festivals of Bacchus, the Greco-Roman god of wine, freedom, intoxication, and ecstasy. So let's just, for the sake of conversation right now, completely remove the argument, not taking a position here or there on the idea of they were trying to, in your face, give the middle finger to the idea of the Lord's Supper. Because maybe they were, maybe they weren't. I don't think that that's an argument that can ever, there's no end to that argument. There's no way you can prove that it was or it wasn't. We all have our opinions, and I can see how those who believe that it was a depiction of the Lord's Supper, how you're justified in that thought. Let's set it all aside right now, because for the sake of what Christians have been called to speak on regarding this issue right now, the idea of a festival of Bacchus is inherently against God's will for his people. Now, if you're not a Christian, you don't abide by those rules. That's totally understandable in a secular, ungodly setting of which most of global history exists in. The exception to the rule is some sort of Christian faith. To subscribe to the Christian faith is, generally speaking, a constant exercise in the denial of the world. Over and over and over again, failing over and over and over again, and knowing that you have a grace that is made to be yours beyond your measure. That's the magic of it. That's the beauty of it. That's the grace of it. What the Olympic Committee chose to portray, we know because they've said so, is this festival of Bacchus. And when you listen to the director talk about how it was incredibly important for them to share a message of inclusivity, the message of inclusivity that they chose to share was one that is diametrically opposed to the Christian faith. The idea of, I've heard people say, it's supposed to be a celebration of fertility. You can't look at the image that was depicted in these Olympic ceremonies and see that it's a depiction in fertility. It was a depiction in sexuality. And I think that you and I both know that the difference, there might be a Venn diagram where sexuality and fertility intersect, but there's a lot of space where it doesn't. If you want to depict something like that, and you want to be inclusive, you do not choose what the director of the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games chose to depict. You just don't do it. It's absolutely within reason for people like you or me to see that and go, wow, that really looks like the Lord's Supper. What the heck are they doing? Why is there a child there? What is, going on with the people who they're choosing to highlight? Was it inclusive? Because it actually very much so became exclusive. And in the moment where you have an audience of what I understand is maybe billions of people watching the opening of the Olympic Games, what they tried to do was teach the world a lesson. They tried to use that opportunity to be exclusive and forward with a disagreement that our current culture has with the ideals of Christianity. And here's where I want you to pay very close attention. If you are listening to this and you are a Christian, if you're listening to this and you know and love a Christian, if you're listening to this and, folks, you do not have to have a Christian faith to look at what was depicted there and feel a moral sense of disgust. The over-sexualization of the opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games is a very important and permanent mark in our culture of where we are right now. The understanding that you can put something like that in front of the eyes and ears of children who will be watching this event. So long gone are the days of, drag shows are for the entertainment. I know lots of people who have gone to drag shows for bachelor parties or bachelorette parties, so on and so forth. And it's considered adult entertainment, to each their own, whatever. In a secular society, everybody's free to do what they want. Starts happening in school libraries, and you're kind of like, but why? The idea of demeaning sexuality into something incredibly casual, accessible to anyone at any time of any age, and appropriate to present to the world as entertainment in the way that the Olympic Games chose to do it. This isn't about the French. This isn't about the Olympics. This is about culture, and this culture is in your backyard right now. It was before the opening ceremonies. It will be after the Olympics are far from over. This is real. And I'm, setting aside right now the understanding that I do speak to a broad audience, not everybody who is Christian like myself. I respect that you have your own walk of life, your own walk of faith. I choose to share mine because it is foundational to who I am. And I do want to make sure that I overemphasize that I'm not intending to be preachy here in any way, shape, or form, but this is who I am. You are never going to wake up a day in a broken world where Christianity has it easy. To believe in something like the Christian faith, to believe in the need for a savior to come wipe away all of the sins of the world, you better believe that the counter to that exists. You better believe that there is something out there constantly trying to win that day, win that minute, and that evil is something that is truly real. And evil doesn't always look like a demon that is coming to prowl upon you or me or anybody. Evil is anything that doesn't glorify God. And I look at the Olympic Games and I'm like, well, of course. But it's not the only instance. It shouldn't really be shocking to people who are walking the Christian faith. This stuff is everywhere. And it's so casual that it became commonplace for the Olympics to celebrate it. And if we turn off the Olympics, and I do not care at all if you watch the Olympics or if you don't watch the Olympics, I do care if you vote in today's poll, because that's the question. If we think that we're going to turn the Olympics off and really stick it to the people who did this, and that's where this fight ends, then we haven't even really begun. And I want to make sure that people understand that. What was reflected in the Olympic opening ceremonies was just a pretty bold depiction of things that are with us, around us every single day. As a Christian, that's how I see it. Do I think that we should be legislating things in and out? I think we should be protecting our kids. But the idea that there was a child sitting at that table took it to a whole new level for me. Would love to know what you think. Go vote in the YouTube live chat poll today. Do you intend to watch the 2024 Olympics? I would love to hear what you think. Leave your comments. We'll get to some of those too when we come back. We're excited to have on the show today Steve Moore in the 1 o'clock hour and Tom Homan. I'm going to talk to Tom Homan about the border, Kamala Harris' potential presidency. Does she get a pass on the border? Is the current border situation on her to own? Tom Homan will join us. He, of course, is the former acting director of the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement. You know him as ICE. Quick break. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
The Retirement Advisory Group is having their next Protecting Your Retirement educational event Tuesday, August 6th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30 p.m. I'm going to be there. Would you like to come join me? I would love to see you. I'll be there from about 6 to 6:30 p.m. and then hand it over to Thomas Helbig and Bob and Tammy Kershaw. Mark Reardon, Mark Cox should be there with me as well. And this is a free event. It doesn't cost you anything to attend this event. You just have to call and reserve your spot to make sure that we have enough seats in the room. And they have been filling up to the max. So I want to make sure that you are going to be there and comfortable. Bring your friends, bring your spouse, bring your sibling or best friend or whatever, and just sit down and listen to what Thomas and Bob and Tammy have to say from the Retirement Advisory Group. They are going to help make sure that you don't have to worry when retirement sets in, that you make the right moves when you are transitioning. There are some things that you need to do and not miss the boat on that. And they'll guide you through the whole process. Again, it's free. It's Tuesday, August 6th at the Frontenac Hilton. I'll get there at 6, and we turn it over to Thomas and the folks there at about 6:30. So reserve your spot. 314-993-9494, retirementkey.com.
As a conservative state representative, Adam Schnelting has a track record of protecting kids and fighting the swamp. For more information on the only candidate for State Senate District 23, endorsed by Missouri Right to Life and the NRA, visit adam4mo.com. Vote Adam Schnelting on August 6th.
Protect Our Kids PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising. Paid for by Protect Our Kids PAC. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
As President Trump's trusted attorney, Missouri's Will Scharf beat the lawfare liberals at their own game, delivering a major victory for Trump at the Supreme Court. He'll win for Missouri, too. Scharf's a rule of law conservative, tough on crime, backs the blue. Conservative Will Scharf. Warrior for Trump, winner for Missouri Attorney General. Because Missouri's lost enough with liberal Andrew Bailey. As a prosecutor, Bailey went easy on a violent repeat felon with a long rap sheet, including shooting up a police car. Yet Bailey charged him with mere misdemeanors when he struck again, leading to a plea deal that cut him loose within months. Bailey slapped a violent felon on the wrist, the same wrist he allegedly used to shoot a cop. Buried last year, mourned by loved ones wearing black because Bailey betrayed the blue. He'll betray Missouri, too. Defend Missouri PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this ad. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. 471-671-2291.
Experience the beauty of custom-crafted windows that enhance your home's aesthetics and energy efficiency. Look no further than Infinity from Marvin. Proudly brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. Why choose Infinity? These windows are not just strong, they're 8 times stronger than vinyl, providing unmatched security for your home. Plus, with Lakeside's expert installation, you're guaranteed precision and perfection. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today. Elevate your home with Infinity from Marvin, where strength meets style.
Attention, Missouri residents in need of care at home. If you have Medicaid and need assistance with daily activities, you can receive free in-home care from a loved one, funded by Medicaid with no cost to you. Freedom Care, Missouri's #1 home care provider, gives you the power to choose who provides your care, and they get paid instantly. Imagine your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need, and your caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift. Freedom Care has over 5,000 five-star Google reviews and is #1 in Missouri for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's 100% free to you, go to freedomcare.com or call 314-557-3027. That's 314-557-3027. 314-557-3027.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you're not sure who to call for air conditioning services, contact the team at Air Comfort Service. With 55 years of experience and thousands of five-star reviews, you can trust them with the comfort of your home. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Missouri, it's time to vote. The Missouri primary is August 6th, and early voting is happening now. Make your voice heard. Cast your vote in the Missouri primary. Democracy 2024. It's happening now on 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
It's anything but an apology. In fact, it's kind of a masterpiece of woke duplicity. And so I just wanted to say a few things, because if they felt this is meant to mollify Christians, I would think again. Here's some of the things that were said. Clearly, there was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group. Give me a break. So we have a group of drag queens cavorting in a kind of sexually provocative way, clearly an imitation of Da Vinci's Last Supper, which presents to the world the Last Supper of Jesus. And no disrespect was meant. You think anyone takes that seriously? I love this. We tried to celebrate community tolerance. Yeah, tolerance. Except for those pesky 2.6 billion Christians on the planet. Everyone's welcome, everyone's tolerated, all this lovely diversity, until you get to anyone that disagrees with your ideology, like these 2.6 billion people. So don't give me this business about tolerance and diversity.
That was a Catholic bishop, his name's Barron, talking about his assessment of the Olympic Games. Our YouTube poll for today is, are you watching the 2024 Olympics? Yes or no? I want to read some of the comments of people coming in here. Gary said, yes, but only because my wife likes to see the gymnasts. I think the gymnasts are really taking home the gold as far as the approval goes. People have a lot of interest in them. Ender says, nope, I just don't really care. Should I? Probably, as it's our country competing. And I used to be huge on the Olympics, but nowadays I really just don't care. I wonder how much Olympics used to be a lot bigger of a deal when we didn't have so many options of things to watch. Now that you have a billion things that you can tune into any given time. I mean, the Olympics were must-see, sit-down, watch on the television back when I was growing up, because we had 6 channels to watch, and the Olympics were pretty exciting, unless, of course, they were taking over your favorite, usually NBC show. Erica says, I'm not watching the Olympics. It just seems that they try to out-weird themselves during the opening ceremony, and I'm with Annie. I just don't have time to sit down and watch. So there's a little bit of apathy there. Amanda said, we are watching. We watch very specific events each year, gymnastics being the main one because our girls compete. With that said, the athletes have trained so hard for this. Don't punish them. Brad, what was your thought on the whole thing?
Well,
did you watch them?
I didn't watch the opening ceremony. That happened on Friday, and the time zone puts it like right in the middle of this show. So I was too busy to watch anything like that. I didn't actually even want to go back and rewatch the opening ceremony. I didn't see anything on Twitter or on social media that said, hey, you need to go back and see this. This was spectacular. I'll give you an example, though. I will go back and watch them, or I'll watch them in primetime if the time difference allows it, because I know whenever they held them in London and Mr. Bean was playing the keyboard for the opening ceremony, I thought that opening ceremony was spectacular, and it kind of peaked with Mr. Bean. And
isn't it annoying that everything has to make a freaking statement all the time.
I don't need a statement. I want to be entertained.
You want to talk about inclusive celebration. What they did was they said, here's what you're going to include. Here's what you're going to like, and we are going to shove it down your face until you agree with us or you go away so that everybody left in the room agrees.
Yeah. And the implicit statement that is being made, whether or not people realize it is whenever you are saying that we're going to be inclusive and we're going to keep these things in there, because there were several drag queens. There was the guy dressed as Dionysus or Bacchus, same god, different pantheon. What you're saying is this sort of thing is being excluded in the culture today, and we need to celebrate it. But if you look at culture, this isn't the thing that's being excluded. This isn't the thing that's being pushed to the side. It's
about time somebody brings up LGBTQ rights.
Right.
It's about time.
My goodness. I mean, like, Kamala Harris's first campaign ad was just full of LGBTQ pride flags. That's what it was. This isn't a marginalized group. No matter how much people want to say that it is a group that is celebrated in our culture. And you can tell that because there's flags, there's people standing up for them, defending them. They're the central point.
Are they celebrated in France?
Jeez. My point is this. They know exactly what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's virtue signaling. They want to score points because they believe this is what will make them look good to the... I don't even know who they're trying to impress
I don't know what
at this
you get
point.
out of it.
Yeah, I just don't know, because I think people are just so over it at this point. It was like, and everything else that I saw about the opening ceremony it was just weird.
It was just hypersexual. Listen, I would be as annoyed and turned off about this if it was a bunch of strictly heterosexual behavior that was that sexual. I'd be going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Knock it off. I guess as a small glimmer of light that kind of shed through this, watching, I think it was the Athens Greek one where they had the white statues in that parade. That was freaking sweet.
Yeah.
Where it was like a bunch of Greek statues in motion and the way they had that presented. And then how cool is it to light the torch with a bow and arrow?
That was cool.
Every time they show that, I watched, I'm like, man, I hope he hits it. He does.
Yeah.
People are tired of having to take a side every time they open up a can of beer, put on a piece of clothing, get in a specific kind of car, watch something on TV. Every time you have to qualify yourself as being righteous.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just want to watch TV. Sometimes you just want to have a beer. Sometimes you just want to participate in something that is an everyday thing, and we are forced around every turn to have a big existential conversation about whether or not you are a bigot or a racist or a phobic something or other, like with everything we do. And I think that this Olympic ceremony has once again parted the sea to make these people on this side, those people on that side, and we're not supposed to cross over or whatever. People are tired of having, oh God, I got to go back to my side again. I'll be right back. And then you leave and you go stand there and you're like, count me. I did the right thing. I'm on the right side. I don't hate anybody. Everybody see me. I don't hate anybody. And then you go back to your normal life until you choose the next thing, and then you've got to go through the whole exercise again.
Yeah. And so it's just so incredibly, I don't even want to say disappointing, but like I saw it and I just rolled my eyes like, oh my gosh, this is what we're doing. This is where we're at.
And you're not surprised.
No.
If they came out and they did something that was truly inclusive and unifying, listen. I'm pretty sure that if you look back at the Athens Greek sculpture one, I don't think, and I know a little bit about history, but I don't think that gay people saw that and like, they hate us. They absolutely think we're awful people. They don't even include it like it's Greece. It's Greece.
When you say that, and this is kind of the thing, and I've been thinking about this for the longest time, and I'm sure there are some gay people out there that would agree with me when I say this. But whenever you point out that the only thing that separates gay people from other people is their sexuality, you're boiling a whole individual down into something. Their only defining characteristic is who they're attracted to.
Yeah.
And that's so incredibly...
There's a lot more to me than the fact that I'm attracted to my husband.
Right. And so, like, so you've got... I'll use Michael Sam as an example. He was celebrated in St. Louis as a defensive end, the first openly gay NFL player. But he wasn't just a gay man. He was also a football player who made it onto a team and who played on the NFL roster. There was more to his life than who he was attracted to.
Yeah, but that's what people know about him.
And it's a shame to treat people that way because you want to treat the whole individual as something. And that's why, like, they would look at those Greek statues or they would look at Mr. Bean playing the keyboard and they go, ha, that's funny. I don't feel excluded because it doesn't have anything else to do with anything outside of either music or your appreciation of Greek architecture or Greek statues or Greek art. It's just what it is. It's other parts of what people are. I get so frustrated by this boiling down of an entire group of people to who they're attracted to, and that's the only defining characteristic and the most important thing in their life.
But it's the important thing to remember, and I'm going to criticize you for having too much common sense, because power comes from division.
Mm-hmm.
And with this, do you think that when they're like, oh, this is edgy? Do you think they thought it was edgy? I think they thought it was edgy.
Oh, yeah.
I think they thought we're making a statement, guys. We're part of something here. We're going to, the future is going to remember this moment. And the reason why people remember something like that is because it becomes a big conversation. Mm-hmm. It's a headline everywhere. And everybody has to choose a side. And the choosing of the sides is not whether you love people who are maybe not like you, who have a different sexual preference than you, or whether you hate them. My concern is, why are you putting this in front of children? Why do you think that's okay? There's my problem. The overt sexual nature of it, and the constant need to prove your point by exposing people who shouldn't be being exposed in that form to any kind of sexuality. It's overt and it's repetitive. We should expect it. We should not be surprised by it. Andy says on YouTube, Christianity does appear to be on the decline in general. That probably feels bad for some Christians. To understand true Christianity is to know suffering
mm-hmm.
and to know oppression and to know persecution that is biblical. I mean, Brad, we don't have time for a sermon, but but you could probably go through the most prominent, notable names in the Bible, and most of them don't mean a comfortable, cozy end.
No, I would say I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but I think only one of the apostles didn't die a martyr's death.
I mean, Jesus is one of them.
Well, yeah.
The idea that Andy, I have no idea what Andy's faith walk is. But the idea that Christianity appears to be on the decline, I mean, if you're familiar with Christianity and if you're familiar with the Bible, Brad, you certainly are, mm-hmm. as a pastor, it's not like the end of the Bible's like, and everybody came to know Jesus.
No, it's not.
I mean, they came to know him.
Yeah. Every knee bows, or every knee bow and
every tongue will confess.
But it doesn't always confess in the right manner for everybody.
Yes. And the idea that, I mean, if you're judging the success of Christianity by percentage of people who are like, yeah, that's it. That's me. There isn't a percentage that exists where it's like, okay, this is a good idea. That's not the way.
Right.
That's not the way Christianity works. So if you're looking at Christianity being on the decline, that too is biblical.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a quick break and get Ryan Wiggins in here to get this thing back on track. The Monday Roundup, the wildest ride in the wilderness. Monday is Wiggins America with Ryan Wiggins. When we come back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Fry Show.
STS Armory, Katie and Jesse, my good friends in Pontoon Beach. Their location there is really wonderful. They're waiting for you. It's very welcoming. I think that when people go to buy firearms, especially if they're not super well-versed in purchasing firearms, especially in Illinois, lots of hoops to jump through, but they are worth jumping through to exercise your Second Amendment rights, to make sure that you offer yourself protection. They know at STS Armory that there's a responsible way to do that. That's why they are tops when it comes to offering you the education that you need to go along with, getting that new void card or getting the conceal and carry license and going through the process that is required by the state of Illinois to satisfy that. I appreciate the fact that Katie and Jesse can help brand new newbies, people who have not exercised their Second Amendment rights before, and also the people who are experts. They also offer advanced classes, instructor level classes, so they can help everybody and everyone in between. If you are in search of a first firearm or, your nth firearm, STS Armory is there to guide you through that buying process, and they are wonderful when it comes to accessories, safes. I've bought both from them, also holsters, anything else that you need, ammunition. STS Armory can help you with that. You can call them directly and ask them about their classes, 618-931-GUNS, 618-931-GUNS. You can find them online at sts-armory.com.
St. Charles County is a great county and community.
Joe Brazel supports smart growth.
In recent years, there has been an explosion of growth, an increase of apartment buildings by 180%. Explosive growth is not good for our citizens. It causes major strains on our resources. Having a rural area in our county and preserving our heritage is very important by not wiping out every tree and contaminating our water.
Joe Brazel, a true patriot working for you.
I'm Joe Brazel, running for St. Charles County Council, District 2, vote August 6th.
Paid for by citizens for Joe Brazel. Mike Summers, Treasurer.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
Today's Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll. Are you watching the 2024 Olympics? A simple yes or no. Let us know what you think. It is 12:50. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Missouri, it's time to vote. The Missouri primary is August 6th, and early voting is happening now. Make your voice heard. Cast your vote in the Missouri primary. Democracy 2024. It's happening now on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show.
Wiggins. Oh! Monday Roundup. Yeah! This here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Yes, it is. This is everything you missed over the weekend. Let's start with CrowdStrike. They are offering...
Can I just insert here that all happened while I was on vacation? And I don't really 100% know the totality of, oh, that screen's not working because of CrowdStrike.
Yeah.
Well, I hate it.
Yeah. Everything else
I'm furious about it.
Hey, everything else is back up and running because you were gone for the worst of it.
Yeah, that I just got a little bit of a hint that like it hit the fan, and I'm like, I don't want to know. And I turned it all off, except for that screen over there, which shows me exactly what's supposed to be happening on the show. Is not working. Is that the last thing from CrowdStrike?
I think it's the last thing in the building that's not working is me and you's screen.
In the
whole world that we look at to determine the times of things. Yeah, that happened on the Friday before, like the last Friday before you came back, right? And
it was the Friday before I got back.
So all I knew is that Mark Cox, because I come in on Friday mornings and do a hit on Mark Cox,
you come in Friday mornings to hit on Mark Cox?
Yeah, it's the only time where he's kind of open to the idea.
Don't walk into something you can't get out
He's
of.
in a good mood at about 8:30 on Friday,
Who
so I
isn't?
figure, okay, I'll come on in. What's up, Mark?
Mark, I'm sorry for a whole lot of things.
Yeah, it makes our office awkward since we share an office.
Everything's making more sense to me now.
There's a lot of, like, on air it's great, and then we walk in the office and it's just completely silent and chilly. It's weird.
Except for the candles. They're those man-scented candles. It's like cut grass.
Mm-hmm. We enjoy it. It's
if Mark's not listening.
All I know is that morning he was told ahead of time, Mark, just so you know, you might have to do 4 hours without stopping. Like start at 5 a.m. Don't stop talking until 9.
We have some interviews that we try to keep recent or kind of evergreen interviews. They are the SOS.
Yeah.
If literally, if I went down,
you go down.
If I go kaput right
and
here,
I go down.
Yeah, Ryan's the one who shot me. This is now the Manny show. But if we can fire off those interviews. We had a fire.
That's one of the only times we've had to do it.
An alert go off in the building. It was like, what did it say? Abandoned ship.
Yeah, it did. It was from the 1880s.
Yeah. And they were talking like pirates.
Yeah. Yar. There be fire.
And so we said, all right, fire the interview up, and then we can leave, and you guys get 15 minutes of non-silence, and after that, who knows? But with this, we need to have breaks.
We should. Every now and then. We should have at least like a minute or two where we can kind of gather ourselves, get a drink maybe. I'm glad that we went over all that because CrowdStrike is very, very sorry about what happened.
They should be.
So sorry.
I want justice for the screen. That's
maybe we can get 2 of these offers. They're offering their partners a $10 Uber Eats gift card. Kid you not.
Our bad.
In an email posted to social media platform X, CrowdStrike reportedly said that the company recognizes the additional work.
What is CrowdStrike's relationship with Uber Eats?
I don't think they have one. I think they're just offering, hey, we know you're working late. Maybe we can deliver you a meal.
I would think that this is huge for Uber Eats.
Uber Eats actually flagged it as fraud because so many people tried to use it all at once that they thought, oh, this has got to be some sort of scam. But it wasn't. It's real. They said, to express our gratitude, your next cup of coffee or late night snack is on us. Thanks, CrowdStrike.
Man, they can go down every week for free lunch.
I don't think our engineers would say yes to that.
No, I wasn't here. I don't know. They're usually pretty calm and chill.
Yeah.
They actually are.
Mm-hmm. Actually, they do a good job.
That's usually, like, people know what engineers and IT people are like. Our engineers are fantastic.
Yeah, they are.
They are not the stereotypical type of engineer.
Would you say that's usually kind of a panicked person, like, oh, everything's all the time, like ER doctor?
No, when the IT person comes and tries to fix your computer, and if you're of a certain age and you've tried the basic things, you've restarted the computer, whatever, they sit down and they're like, all right, dumbest person in the world, get out of your chair.
Okay.
Jimmy Fallon did that character on Saturday Night Live. Move.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, honestly, if you're going from workstation to workstation and you just are restarting computers to fix them, I could kind of see where that would come from.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would do well in that life. But we
wouldn't
have
either.
great engineers here.
Yeah, we do.
At Odyssey.
Yeah,
St. Louis.
they've done great. I actually came in
Except for that screen.
that one screen. That Sunday night when Joe Biden dropped out of the race, I came in to do the live show version of Wiggins America, which is usually a replay from Saturday morning. But I was like, nope, can't do that one. And they were in here still working on the weekends. So good on you guys. Here's one last one before we get to the top of the hour here. Deadpool and Wolverine, a comic book adventure story that pairs two of Marvel's most popular characters, is turbocharging the box office. It is absolutely killing it. The number one rated R movie ever now released.
You guys
205
Deadpool
million.
fans, you are. You
I
were
went and watched it.
Did you?
I saw the movie.
No, I
yeah.
mean like just in general. Deadpool?
Yeah.
Well, I've seen them way after the fact and enjoyed both of the movies, yeah.
They're not
Until
for
this
me,
one.
though.
No?
They didn't make that movie for me.
No, they didn't.
I guess
See?
not.
Isn't it okay to be like, it's just not for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I could probably come out and like really criticize it for things that are just in opposition to what I would be comfortable watching, but I can also just acknowledge, not for me.
Yeah.
And then maybe, wish it success.
I just really enjoyed a movie that's making commentary about itself as it's happening. I've never really seen a movie that did that so well as Deadpool. Did you watch this new one?
Oh man, it was.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Aren't they filthy?
It's crass, right?
Yeah, it's crass. I giggled the whole way through it, though. I mean, it's.
Well, that's the kind of guy you are, Brad.
Yeah, crass and violent and bloody.
Okay.
But
I kind of want to go see this now.
But the comedy in it is amazing.
That's what I've heard. So it's
crazy
killing it at the box office. Number one rated R movie ever. There you go.
Hooray. Good for them.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I hope Ryan Reynolds is doing okay. So
I was too. Mint Mobile, I was like, gosh, he just sold it.
Yeah, he was going to struggle and hanging out with Taylor Swift for her money all the time. Who knows? Steve Moore, we come back.
I'm Robert Cornejo. It is an honor to serve as judge for St. Charles County, the community that I am proud to be raising my family in. In my courtroom, I follow the Constitution and the rule of law. I'm not here to legislate from the bench. I'm here to ensure justice is carried out efficiently and fairly. My number one priority as a judge is to make sure this is a safe community for families like mine.
Robert Cornejo served in the Missouri House, where he defended the sanctity of life, prevented illegal immigrants from receiving taxpayer-subsidized tuition, fought against big government, and strengthened our Second Amendment rights. Judge Robert Cornejo is endorsed by the St. Louis County Police Association and Eastern Missouri Coalition of Police for his work to keep St. Charles County safe. Judge Cornejo also has the support of local firefighters.
When you cast your vote, I hope that you will allow me, Judge Robert Cornejo, to be the next circuit judge for St. Charles County.
Paid for by friends of Robert Cornejo. Allison Onder, Treasurer.
Can Missouri Republicans trust Bill Eigel? President Trump doesn't. President Trump criticized Eigel for deceiving voters by using his image in campaign ads. Trump even threatened legal action against Eigel. Why does President Trump oppose Bill Eigel? It's because Eigel's campaign is bankrolled by the same rich liberals who are funding ads that attack Trump's record and character. Bill Eigel is a dishonest politician who is bought and paid for by never-Trumpers. There's a better choice. Conservative Republican Mike Kehoe is a businessman and job creator. Kehoe has a bold plan to provide relief to Missouri families who are getting crushed by Biden's inflation. As our governor, Mike Kehoe will eliminate the state income tax to put more money back in your pocket. Mike Kehoe is the conservative Republican we can trust.
Cops for Kehoe is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Cops for Kehoe, and is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Under Law Injury Lawyers GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
FBI G2 on the shooter. I'm Therese Crowley, Fox News. Identified as suspicious at 5 p.m., over an hour before he shot former President Trump. An FBI conference call on the Trump assassination attempt reveals today the shooter told his parents he was going to the shooting range with a gun legally transferred from his father.
The FBI says it's conducted hundreds of interviews surrounding the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, the injury of two Trump supporters, and the murder of another, Corey Compriatore. saying at some point the former president has agreed to a standard victim interview for his perspective of the shooting. For now, the FBI says the attempted assassin's motive is still not clear. Over 2,100 tips have been investigated. The FBI also wants to know how the shooter, who they describe as a loner, was able to conceal the rifle he used. The FBI only investigating the shooting itself and not the massive security failure that allowed it to happen. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Vice President Kamala Harris says she agrees with President Biden on his first outing since ending his presidential bid, calling for a sweeping Supreme Court overhaul and for Congress to strip presidential immunity. Fox's David Spunt on the Texas trip.
President Biden has been teasing changes to the Supreme Court since he came to office, and ultimately Vice President Harris will be the one to answer for those proposals. Her campaign announcing she's 100% on board with the proposed changes. They include no immunity for crimes of a former president committed in office, term limits for Supreme Court justices, and that binding code of conduct for the Supreme Court. The first would require a change to the Constitution in the form of an amendment. It comes after the Supreme Court in early July ruled that former President Donald Trump was largely immune from prosecution in his federal trial for alleged attempts to overturn the election. Biden calls it the "no one is above the law" amendment.
And that's Fox's David Spunt. The Congressional Progressive Caucus applauds the move. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
A mix of clouds and sunshine going through our Monday afternoon. Hot and very humid. Couple of scattered thunderstorms still lingering. 92 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm and humid, 78. Tuesday, sunny, hot and humid, 97. 79 for the low on Tuesday night. The city may only get down to 82. Wednesday, sunny, hot and humid, near 100. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downy are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/DC 17+. End September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
Window World, online at windowworld.com, have the very best replacement windows for your home. When it comes time when the current builder grade windows have started to degrade, they're not efficient any longer, you're in the market. And when you're in the market, you want a window that's quality, of course, but you also don't want to overpay for it. You don't want to deal with any of those overpowering, pushy salespeople. Why you go to Window World. Right now, they're offering up to 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So if you are interested in finding out how big of a project you need to do you need to do all the windows in your home, maybe one floor, whatever it might be, Window World can help make that very affordable for you. They also make sure that they have a reputation that they continue to uphold by the great service they're going to provide you. One thing that separates Window World from all of the other window replacement companies out there is their commitment to customer service, which you can track through their BBB record, other reporting agencies in addition to BBB.
it tracks. It's very, very consistent, and you could be a part of that. If you're interested in replacement windows with Window World, try 314-993-1800 and mention Annie when you give them a call. 314-993-1800. 314-993-1800. Online at windowworld.com.
Biden's open border policies are crushing Missouri. Yet, the Jeff City Swamp is boosting a program subsidizing health care for illegals, the same program behind Planned Parenthood's discount abortion scheme. Thankfully, Iraq War veteran Andrew Bailey is on guard. Like Trump, he's a fighter. As your Attorney General, Andrew Bailey won't stop fighting illegal immigrants and Planned Parenthood. Call 314-340-6816 and thank Andrew Bailey. Stand For Us PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. StandForUs.com.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special, only $49.99. Seminars Tuesday, August 13th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Wednesday, August 14th at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m.
It's what's happening.
And she is going to be the next president of the United States.
Right now.
Director Cheadle, I don't think she should resign. I think she should have been fired.
Keeping you informed.
Ma'am, you are a DEI horror story.
97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
All right, this morning, new CNN polling shows that most Americans think home ownership is a dream that might never come true. Many Americans who do not own a home right now say they do not think they will ever be able to afford one.
Well, that's a CNN report, obviously, from John Berman talking about the American dream, which is supposed to be, you know, your own 3-bed, 2-bathroom house, 2.5 kids, or whatever the whole thing is. It's becoming less and less affordable, and Americans, in a bipartisan, tripartisan, whatever way, are understanding that what used to look like that American dream, it is less attainable. Now the question is, of course, for the politicians running to be the president of the United States, how do you make the case that they have the best policies and the other guy has the problematic policies? Let's talk to Steve Moore. He's a distinguished fellow in economics at the Heritage Foundation. He's also an economic advisor for former President Donald Trump. Steve, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you.
Hi, Annie. Good to be with you. And by the way, if you look at those mortgage payments, I think you may make a very good point that mortgage payments on a median value home when Trump was president was somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,200, $1,300 a month, depending on where you live. Now it's over $2,000 a month. In some cases, $2,500 a month. So in many areas, the cost of buying a new home in terms of your monthly payments is going to be twice as high as it was. And so this is pricing a lot of them, young people in their late 20s and 30s, we're just starting to think about buying their own home and starting a family. They can't afford it. And then meanwhile, rents are way up as well. So it's this is one of the areas where the consumer price index, inflation number doesn't really pick up the extent to which you're paying so much more for housing. And as you said, this is the American dream. And it's sad, that the mortgage rate was 3% when Trump left office. It reached 7%. It's coming down a little bit, but it's still really high compared to where it was. And that's a tragedy for people. If you're a husband and wife with maybe 1 or 2 kids, it's just very difficult to be able to afford a home.
Yeah. And to think many of these people who are trying to do this, they have dual incomes, which yes. Didn't always used to be the case either. And we hear from the administration about how incomes are up, household income is up. But if everything costs more than the income is up, that doesn't shake out in the favor of the taxpayer.
Well, that's right. So the official number as of June was that the average household, in America has lost about $2,000 to $2,500 in purchasing power a year. And that's a lot. That means, to put it very plainly, if you're a middle-class family, you're poorer today on average than you were when Trump was president, and that's quite an indictment.
We're speaking with Steve Moore about the economy right now. I mean, I guess you could say this is Biden's economy. Maybe it's not Kamala Harris's economy. What is she going to do to make this better for American citizens?
Well, we had an item in our hotline today. I hope people are getting that, by the way. Just go to unleashprosperity.com and you can get it for free. But we noted that, two of the biggest spending bills of all time, the Inflation Reduction Act, so-called Inflation Reduction Act, and the, what do they call it, Build Back Better bill, whatever that thing was, with $3 trillion price tag. That's over $3 trillion of new spending that happened with Kamala Harris's tie-breaking vote in the Senate. Because remember, Annie, if you get a tie in the Senate, you know who breaks the tie.
Yeah, future J.D. Vance.
The vice. Exactly. Can't wait for that to happen. Yeah. So she broke both of those ties voting for these things. I'm a little surprised, by the way. I mean, if I were running Kamala's campaign, which obviously I'm not, I try to distance myself from Biden's policies. Instead, she's running around the country acting like it's been some kind of smashing success, and she's going to double down on it. And she will. And in fact, I was asked on Fox News on Saturday, do you think this is going to be more of the same under Kamala Harris? I said, no, it's going to be more to the worse because she's for the Green New Deal. She's for getting rid of private health insurance and just having everybody in a government plan. And so the government runs the health market. And then she's also for getting rid of right to work. So if you are working and you're in and you've got a union running a facility, you would have to pay union dues and join the union, whether you wanted to or not, which to me is just un-American.
Steve, when you're talking about, I want to pin down that healthcare thing. If you're just dipping your toe in politics, it's an election year. Some people won't start paying attention. I don't know how they manage this until September, October. Yeah. And you hear Kamala Harris and she says, I think everybody should have healthcare. I don't think anybody should be turned away. That sounds really nice, Steve. Why would you be opposed to everybody having access to healthcare?
Well, pretty much everybody does. I mean, if you go to an emergency room and you have a problem, you have an injury, they're not going to not treat you. So we have de facto, universal coverage. It's just, do you want good coverage? I mean, look, Cuba has universal health coverage. Do you think it's good care?
No. I mean, I
give you an aspirin. Yeah. In the hospital, they give you an aspirin and say, "There's your health care."
So you're saying that provided health care by the government doesn't mean good health care, but it does become a political talking point to get you across the finish line on Election Day.
Well, it does, and they're gonna. But look, I think the American people, most of us like the health care. Remember when Obama ran for president with Obamacare, and he said, "If you like the health care you get to keep it."
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
That famous line?
That didn't happen.
Now Kamala's saying, I don't care if you like your health care or not. I don't care if you like your doctor. I don't care if you like your hospital. You're going to do we're going to go where we tell you to go. Mm-hmm. That doesn't sound like what Americans want.
Yeah, that sounds like what happens when you trade freedom for government-provided security.
That's exactly right. Yep.
When I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk about Trump's plan, because we're talking about housing, talking about healthcare, all of these things that the government has gotten involved in. It makes it harder for Americans to live and have those American dreams that they determine what they are. What does the Trump administration do to get housing more affordable?
Well, you get inflation down. The inflation was 1.5% when Trump was president. We need to build more housing in this country, get rid of a lot of the log jams against building housing. And you got to have higher wages. The thing is, you had a big increase in their income under Trump because of our pro-growth policy. So guess what? They could afford to buy a new home or a better home. So you had a booming housing market when Trump was president. But Biden, because he's made everybody poor, everybody has to, instead of, moving up in terms of the quality of your housing, you now have to move down the scale because you just can't afford as much as you used to. So I guarantee you when Trump gets in, we're going to get inflation, back down to, 1% to 2%.
How do you do that?
He's going to fly out of that. What?
How do you do that?
First of all, you got to just cancel a lot of this idiotic spending that's going on. There's $300 billion they want to waste on green energy programs that don't work. They still want to spend $100 billion on COVID. I mean, last time I checked, COVID was pretty much over. I mean, there is some COVID strains, but it's just like getting, a mild version of the flu. So there's so many things. We could get rid of so many programs that have been around for 100 years that don't do anything anymore. Do you know only 6% of the federal employees in Washington today, only 6% are coming into the office full time.
What? 6?
6%. 6%.
Gosh, I'm in the wrong line of work.
No, they're just dialing it in. And they're, working 20, 25 hours a week maybe, and they're pulling down $150,000, $160,000 a year.
That's
it's
outrageous.
The biggest scam ever. Yeah, we could easily cut. Well, I would start with 25 or 30% of the federal workforce and just say, thank you for your service. Now it's time to go get a real job.
Last question before we let you go. Steve Moore speaking with us. Are there things that Donald Trump can do through executive action to cause that effect, or does he need Congress with him?
We've been really operating for the last 15 years on government executive orders. Basically when Bush left the office and Obama came in, he changed everything with executive orders, and then Trump reversed Obama's executive orders, and then Biden came in and reversed Trump's executive orders, and now when we come in, we're going to reverse Biden's executive orders, and we're going to be drilling. We're going to be bringing prices down. We're going to force people to be working if they're going to get government benefits. You have to have a job. We're going to rebuild our military. And, of course, most importantly, we're going to get that border secure within about 2 months.
Yeah. Well, a constitutionally focused aligned Congress sure could help quite a bit for a Trump administration.
Yeah.
Steve, thank you for being with us today. We always love having you.
All right. Have a great week ahead. Talk to you soon.
Yes, sounds good. Bye-bye. Steve Moore, Distinguished Fellow in Economics at the Heritage Foundation and a Trump economic advisor. His book, Govzilla, How the Relentless Growth of Government is Devouring Our Economy and Our Freedom. Those are pretty good examples of that. I mean, pulling back on spending, the amount of spending that we have that is so incredibly bloated. And when you go through, I mean, Rand Paul does that airing of grievances on Festivus.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Doesn't he do it on Festivus? You read through that and you're like, I mean, it's Christmas, and you're like, oh, eye roll, I don't even need to care about these things. But then at the same time, you're like, I should care a lot about these things. Pulling back on spending and having somebody who's willing to go in there and do it is important. But it really needs to extend past just the presidency. It really does need to have a broad, I mean, the United States Senate is very much so in play for Republicans to take the majority there. Mm-hmm. I don't really know. We haven't had like the full-on Kamala conversation yet, but I really, truly am not going to dive headfirst into that until she has the nomination.
That's fair. I mean, like you listen to some of the reporting about it, some of the audio clips I've seen, some of the focus groups that I've seen, people aren't like super sold on her. Now I know there's another group of people out there saying, well, you don't get another mulligan, you get one do-over for an election cycle. I'm like, I don't even know if you get one do-over.
We need to remember that we are already way, way, way past the unprecedented moment in time. Anything goes.
Oh, yeah, and like whenever I hear people say, well, you don't get another do-over, it's like, you do if you think you're going to keep Trump out of office by doing the do-over. Because that is number one most important thing on the Democrats' radar at any point is how do we keep this man out of and away from the White House. This is their biggest thing, and they will do whatever it takes to do that.
You know how I love polls?
Love him.
Monday, July 29th polls. President Biden job approval. Rasmussen, 46% approve.
Now
that he's leaving. Still, he's just disapprove +6. Wow. Wow. President job approval, according to Gallup, 36% approve, 58% disapprove. Rasmussen, who are you talking to? Congressional job approval, 16 approve, according to Gallup. And the direction of the country with Rasmussen, which is interesting. So 46% approve of Joe Biden's job approval, again, knowing now that he's like, I'm out. And the vice president is meeting with all of these people and getting the camera shots and the headlines and everything. Is this the way it's going to be until Election Day? Is Kamala Harris going to just play president until she tries to win the presidency? Because it's not how it works. When the ish hits the fan, and I think that we should all be sitting on the edge of our seats praying to God that it doesn't before Election Day, they go to Joe Biden. At least they're supposed to. And if they know that they're not, if that's been status quo, you got to tell us. It's also treasonous. Because the American people elected Joe Biden. They didn't elect anybody else to be the president of the United States. They did not elect Kamala Harris to be the president or to act as the president when the president is there. You have to go through the process of changing that up if you were going to sidestep the normal process. But anyway, 46, according to that Rasmussen poll, 46% approve of Joe Biden, but 60% say that the direction of the country is on the wrong track. Yeah, not math majors. From this weekend, a Fox News poll has Trump at 50 in Wisconsin over Harris's 49. A tie in Michigan, a tie in Pennsylvania, Minnesota. The fact that they're even reporting on Minnesota right now is encouraging if you're a Trump supporter, but has Harris +6 in Minnesota. So that's likely out of the margin error. These are all Fox News polls. Wisconsin, Trump versus Harris versus Kennedy versus West versus Stein. So that's everybody. Trump and Harris are in a tie at 46. Michigan, Fox News poll, Trump +2. And that's with everybody in. Pennsylvania with everybody in, Harris +2. Minnesota with everybody in, Harris +6. Minnesota straight up Harris Trump. Harris 50, Trump 40, Harris +10. The general election, according to the Wall Street Journal, which honestly these don't really mean much. I know what it would be like to hear this if you're not on my side, so I get it. But the general election polls should always skew left. So to me, a poll that shows that Donald Trump is in the game on the general election would be very frightening if I were on the left.
Yeah.
And the Wall Street Journal general election Trump versus Harris poll is Trump 49, Harris 47. The Wall Street Journal general election Trump, Harris, and everybody else, Harris +1. Trump's in the game.
He's in the game.
That's the key here. So it's very close. All of this to say, Kamala Harris gets a honeymoon period. You get to put all of the fluff out there. And I mean, like, there are a lot of attractive things about Kamala Harris to the people who she wants to court as her voters. She's done a lot. I mean, it makes it even more egregious from where I sit because I'm not one of her voters. She's not out there touting great things that are going to make Annie Fry go, she's fantastic. Like, the more she says about her accomplishments, the more I'm like, because I don't think that her accomplishments are what's best for the country. We have policy differences. And in the same way that Donald Trump comes out and talks about what he did, we just had Steve Moore on talking about what Steve Moore, through his economic advisement of the president when he was president prior to Biden's term, he's championing a lot of these things that he considers to be great successes of the Trump administration. If you're on the left, you're like, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. That's just the way politics goes. Considering that the honeymoon factor, that Kamala Harris has taken a trouncing of Joe Biden into a place where Kamala Harris is in the game. Is that the ceiling? Because if that's the ceiling, that's also good news for Trump.
Yeah.
Trump, don't fumble the ball. Let's take a quick break and talk to Tom Homan when we come back. He's the former acting director of the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. He's the president and CEO of Border 911. He's also a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. He is one, in my opinion, just my observation every time he speaks, a very BA when it comes to getting the border back under control. And a pleasure to have him on the show. Let's talk to Tom Homan when we come back about the border.
But this morning,
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The Retirement Advisory Group is having their next Protecting Your Retirement educational event Tuesday, August 6th. It's a week from tomorrow, and I'm going to be there from 6 o'clock to about 6:30, and then we turn it over to the folks at the Retirement Advisory Group, but I'd love to see you. Mark Cox and Mark Reardon will be joining me as well, and we will get you ready for this great event where you get to learn the tips and tricks you need to make sure that your retirement is, in fact, worry-free. And speaking of free, the event is free. They have snacks, they have drinks. So you can come spend a little bit of time on a Tuesday evening. It does not suck up your whole evening. It starts at 6:30, so if you don't really care about meeting us and you just want to get the free info and sit down and get in and get out, it's a great opportunity to go learn what you can learn from the Retirement Advisory Group folks for free. Then you can sign up with them if you want to have a further personal conversation. Totally up to you. No obligation to do it. But if you do want to go, make sure you let them know at 314-993-9494 that you are looking to attend. They will reserve a spot for you, and the room will fill up. So go. Get there early if you want to meet me. I would love to meet you. 314-993-9494, retirementkey.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Triton Exteriors. If you're younger than me, you may not have ever really experienced truly great customer service. You will with Triton Exteriors. We're a James Hardy siding company. We have a huge color selection. We do fences. We do pretty much everything on the exteriors. We have a great reputation. We have tons, 800 positive online reviews with Angie's List. Great with the BBB. Call 314-717-1159 or book online at triton-stl.com.
For over 2 decades, Joe Brazel has served St. Charles County with passion and dedication. As your county councilman, Joe has championed smart growth with Proposition S, protected our veterans by stopping military funeral protests, stood against excessive high-density housing, and supported the 2030 Master Plan for controlled infrastructure. Joe Brazel, a true patriot working for you.
I'm Joe Brazel, running for St. Charles County Council, District 2, vote August 6th.
Paid for by Citizens for Joe Brazel, Mike Summers, Treasurer.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Do you have an invention idea but don't know what to do next? Call InventHelp today. We have representatives nationwide who will explain the InventHelp process step by step. Over 10,000 patents have been secured through InventHelp's patent referral services. The InventHelp Databank includes thousands of companies who have agreed to review new ideas. We've been helping inventors since 1984. Let's help you next. Get started today.
Call 1-800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380. Again, 1-800-217-4380.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the Protecting Your Retirement Educational event, Tuesday, August 6th. It's at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30 p.m. Seats are limited, so go online at retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas and Bob with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering what to do with your life savings? Are you concerned how a major market correction will affect your retirement? Would you like to have a personalized, structured income plan that shows you the monthly income you'll receive in retirement and how to never outlive it?
Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any more losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Tuesday, August 6th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30 p.m. Go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under insulated. Is yours? Did you know that there's an R value associated with insulation? To find out your R value or for free insulation estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Brian Kilmeade. We're about to have a female run for president who happens to be a minority, black, Asian, and if people don't like her policies, calling that person racist is not going to work. Making up words is not going to work.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Fry Show.
For having the leading role on the border, it's only gotten exponentially worse. These are not right-leaning organizations or media outlets. So what do you understand her role to be? And has the situation at the border improved or worsened?
Yeah, let's be very clear about this because there has been a lot of mischaracterization. She was not in charge of the border. The Homeland Security Department is in charge of the border. She did do something important, though. She was assigned to conduct diplomacy with Central American countries, knowing that that's part of the bigger picture of what's affecting the border. And you know what? Those Central American countries are among the few countries to see their numbers go down in terms of the source of migrants who are seen at the border.
Pete Buttigieg has an explanation, of course, for, I've explained how I don't think that the victory over discussing whether or not we're going to call Kamala Harris the border czar, that is an unworthy argument to have because regardless of what you call it, she was terrible at it. And Joe Biden absolutely put her in charge of it. Pete Buttigieg explains it's not on Kamala Harris. It's on the Department of Homeland Security. So we thought, let's talk to Tom Homan, the former acting director of the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement and president and CEO of Border 911. Tom, thank you for being with us here today. It's a pleasure to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
When you hear Pete Buttigieg explain away Kamala Harris's responsibility on the results that we've seen in this administration on the border, what's your thought?
Well, first of all, they did declare the borders are. There's 100 tapes out there doing it. And look, you want to say she's not a border czar? Whatever, but she's the vice president. Who's the Secretary of Homeland Security report to? The vice president. And if he wants to stick to that, well, I was just in charge of diplomacy to Central American countries. Okay, how did she do? Well, in 3.5 years, she was in charge of diplomacy for the 3 Central American countries. That number's around 5 million illegal entries from those 3 countries. 5 million. Average about 1.4 million a year. So apparently she didn't do too good. And what they're doing now, they're trying to push this narrative that the border's better off. But what they're not telling you is they're bringing thousands through the port of entry, through the CPP-1 app. They're bringing thousands through the CHNV, flying straight into airports. If you add those 2 programs together, same population of illegal aliens, and add what the Border Patrol's still catching, and add the gotaways, we're still at historic highs. There's no celebration here at all.
Yeah, and I mean, if you can, polish the situation enough to try to make her look okay come Election Day, you can look at what Kamala Harris has said about what we should do with the people who are here. She doesn't consider people who have come here illegally to be criminals. What do you think a Kamala Harris presidency would result in for the people who have come here illegally?
Let's remember who she is. First of all, she compared Immigration Customs Enforcement agents to the KKK, okay? She vilified and slandered the men of the Horse Patrol and the Border Patrol, saying they whipped black people and they were racist. Again, false. Investigation proved they didn't whip anybody. As a senator, she supported sanctuary cities. As the Attorney General of California, she supported sanctuary cities. Sanctuaries are criminals. This is who we're dealing with. And why did Joe Biden put her in charge of the border? Because she knows she's not about border security. She doesn't like ICE. She doesn't like Border Patrol. Let's put someone in there who's not going to fix it. This administration doesn't want to fix the problem. This isn't mismanagement. This isn't incompetence. Open borders by design. He ran on open borders. You got to give him credit. He kept his promise. And Kamala Harris is the perfect person to make sure they will succeed in maintaining open borders. But if she becomes president, first thing you're going to see is a mass amnesty program for tens of millions of people who enter the country illegally. Now, you got to understand, all these people coming across the border, 8 million people released under the Biden administration, 9 of 10 of them, 9 out of 10 will get an order removal. That's based on immigration court data. That's not my numbers, that's court data. 9 out of 10 will lose their case because they simply don't qualify for asylum to be ordered removed. But who's going to leave? Who's going to actually obey that court order when they can just hide out long enough and Kamala Harris will give you amnesty? This is rewarding illegal behavior. It's just going to feed the fire, get the flames, throwing gas on a fire. It's just going to make things worse. So if she becomes president, you think things are bad now on the border? Hold on tight. Then we'll get a hell of a lot worse.
President and CEO of Border 911, Tom Homan, with us. He's also the former acting director of the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement. We understand that to be ICE. Tom, when I hear you explaining the direction Kamala Harris would take this border problem, it's a crisis that most bipartisan Americans see it as a crisis. When I think about, you can go Trump or you can go Harris. This might be the largest departure of directions that the country would go in should you choose one or the other. What does a Trump presidency look like for the border should he become the president once again?
Okay, so to be clear, I'm speaking as Tom Homan, the ICE director. Border 9 was a 501c3. I can't be political, so I'm not speaking for Border 911.
Understood.
But the bottom line is, Trump has proven he has the most secure border in my lifetime. I started in 1984 as a border patrol agent. I've been doing this for 6 different presidents. I've seen policies work. I've seen policies fail. President Trump's success was unprecedented. Illegal immigration was at a 45-year low. Illegal immigration was decreased by 83 to 90%, depending on what time frame you looked at. Within 90 days, Joe Biden took the most secure border of my lifetime and unsecured it on purpose. We went from the most secure borders to historic illegal immigration. So if President Trump gets back in the White House, it's going to be easy. It's not easy is the wrong word. We can secure the border. It's going to take us about 90 days. We simply turn on the Remain in Mexico program. We turn on the third safe country agreements. We stop catching release. We continue the wall. All 4 things were game changers with Trump administration. We just go back to the same recipe, but finish what we started. And as far as those who millions they release in the United States, 9 out of 10 will be order removed. We need to find them. We need to remove them because that's what the law requires. Unless there's consequences for entering this country illegally, which is a crime, unless there's a consequence for ignoring a federal court order, it's never going to end. So we got to have consequences. If you and I ignore a federal court order, we'd be in prison.
Right. Yeah, completely. What you mentioned the agents that Kamala Harris repeatedly insults and disrespects. Is there a staffing problem right now with ICE, with our Border Patrol agents, that should Donald Trump become the president once again, would people be interested in signing up when maybe right now they won't be because they've been disrespected so much?
Yeah, exactly right. Border Patrol can't hire. Border Patrol was offered, I think last time I saw, a $20,000 signing bonus. They can't hire because who wants to go and take a sworn oath you're going to be a federal law enforcement officer and perform national security duties on the southern border. But when you get in there, you're going down there, you're a tourist agent, you're an Uber driver, you're a taxi driver, you're simply processing people, releasing them into the United States, many times delivering them to the very people who pay to have them smuggled, which is a felony.
That's outrageous.
So in ICE, look, the morale in ICE and Border Patrol is an all-time low. I talk to hundreds of these guys every month. If Trump comes back, number one, they'll get to do the job they took an oath to do. They'll get to be federal law enforcement officers and actually enforce the law and protect this country. These men and women signed up to protect the country. They didn't sign up to process people to release them illegally to the United States, like the Biden administration has been doing for 3.5 years.
I want to ask you one last question briefly about what is taking place in Venezuela. We saw elections. Maduro, he says he wins re-election. Everybody's saying that he's stealing it once again. What are your thoughts on what took place in Venezuela yesterday?
It scares me that's going to come to the United States. Look, the Democrats has voted against voter ID laws. Who the hell doesn't think when you go to vote for a president of the United States, you shouldn't show an ID to vote? I mean, I had to show the ID the other day at will call to get sports tickets. I had to show ID to at a bar. I'm 62 years old, and I had to show ID to get a beer the other day.
Yeah.
So look, it's racist to say people can't get IDs, and whether it's the black community, Hispanic community can't get ID. Anybody can get ID. I bet and so not requiring voter ID, not making sure our elections are solid and concrete, and every vote counts. Because when someone that votes that's not supposed to vote illegally votes, that casts your vote out. Every legal vote should be counted. Everybody should show some sort of ID. And what happened in Venezuela? Look, it's without voter control, that stuff will happen.
Yeah, it's something that everybody should be paying attention to. Tom Homan, thank you for your time today. We're really grateful for your expertise on the issue.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. He is the former acting director of the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He's also a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Grateful to have Tom Homan with us here today on X at @RealTomHoman. Go tell him hi. Let's take a quick break. We'll get Ryan Wiggins back in studio. We want to remind you also of that YouTube live chat poll for today. Are you watching the 2024 Olympics? Yes or no? What do you think? We've got a lot of people reacting and leaving some comments. Grant said, even though the opening was absolutely disgusting, I love the actual sports that are there, that are the Olympics. You agree with Grant? A lot of you do. Let us know what you think. We'll be right back.
This is The Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Stewart's American Mortgage is the home of the Bagel Loan. It's the only place that you can get the Bagel Loan. And if you are seeking out a mortgage or a mortgage refinance, there's no smarter place to go than calling or texting 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. You can Google the Bagel Loan as well, and you'll get directed to the right place. Stewie understands that putting you in the best position to be the most aggressive buyer, to be able to make the most aggressive offer, is going to help you get the house that you want to make your dream home. And he also understands that if you're in a position where you want to do a refinance on your home, maybe you need to do a cash out, maybe you need to lower your rate from when they were at their highest of highs, that it makes a lot of sense to go through that process if it doesn't cost you a bunch of money to do it. That's why the Bagel Loan comes with zero closing costs. 314-324-4440. Reach out to Stewie, tell him Annie sent you, and ask all the questions you need to ask to get confidence about the Bagel Loan. You can Google Bagel Loan, NMLS number 226715.
Patriots like President Trump never stop fighting for their country. Because Trump knows America's on life support and says Dr. Bob Onder can help him save it. Trump's endorsed Dr. Bob Onder for Congress, calling him an incredible America First patriot who will fight tirelessly for our families and conservative values. Dr. Bob Onder, the Trump-endorsed America First conservative. Kurt Schaefer is different. Trump calls Schaefer weak on MAGA because Trump knows his record, voting to let foreign-owned entities buy up Missouri farmland. Now China owns over 40,000 acres. And Schaefer's campaign took $30,000 from a Chinese-owned company. He won't make America great. He'll make China rich. If given the chance, Schaefer will do it again. Win It Backpack is responsible for the content of this ad. Paid for by Win It Backpack. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. WinItBackpack.com.
Tired of hearing scary ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. We may be able to significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe to the IRS. Taxpayers should know. Huge savings are now being made available through the Fresh Start program that can drastically reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. Even if you haven't filed your taxes in years or are facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, or under audit, we can help. We've earned over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today. To see what savings you may qualify for, visit us online at TRA.com or call us at 800-511-0379. 800-511-0379. Again, that's 800-511-0379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Hey, St. Louis, are you in search of top-notch cybersecurity solutions? Look no further. ThrottleNet is here to help. Ransomware attacks are on the rise, putting businesses like yours at risk. Don't let cyber criminals jeopardize your hard-earned success. ThrottleNet provides comprehensive cybersecurity services tailored specifically to your unique needs. Our award-winning customer service provides 24/7 protection to keep your data safe and secure. Take charge of your digital security today. Protect your business, protect your future. ThrottleNet.com, your reliable partner in cybersecurity.
I like seeing your comments about today's poll question. Are you watching the 2024 Olympics? Yes or no? Let us know why you are a yes or a no. It's the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll of the day. 144. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
It's what's happening
She was the border czar.
right now.
I've asked the VP to lead our efforts stemming the migration to our southern border.
Keeping you informed
Now they're trying to say she never was the border czar.
and up to date.
Authorities knew of Thomas Crooks 90 minutes before he opened fire on President Trump.
It makes no sense.
It's really bad.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
So what we're seeing in this race is really the result of what was happening when Biden was the nominee.
97.1 FM Talk.
For all the times that you rain on my parade, and all the clubs you get in.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
You think you broke my
Follow
heart
Annie on
over
Instagram
brokenness.
at the Annie Fry Show.
You think I'm crying on my own, well I ain't. And I didn't want to write a song, cause I didn't want anyone thinking I still care or don't. But you still hit my phone up, and baby I'll be moving on. And I think it should be something I don't want to hold back. Maybe you should know that my mama don't like you, and she
Welcome back
likes
to the Annie
every-
Fry Show. Our YouTube poll for today is, are you watching the 2024 Olympics, yes or no? I don't think that if the Olympic opening ceremony happened, that I would mention the Olympics at all. It's kind of one of those things, if I come home and my kids are watching it, I wouldn't be like, get this crap off the TV. But I wouldn't be the one who's like, hey, guys, we got to gather around and watch the Olympics.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Prior to the opening ceremonies, mine would have been a no if I have to choose between yes or no. Not on purpose.
And mine is still a no, but when it's on, if you're in a bar or something and it's on,
You know
I'm totally
how
watching
the
it.
three of us are.
We go to a bar. I mean, we're just going there to drink. But if it happens to be on, yeah, I'll watch some TV.
What is the equivalent of the bar where we would all be?
The type of bar where we would be?
No.
It would be like a juice bar.
None of us are going to a bar.
No. We're not even cool enough to go to a juice bar. So I don't know what kind of bar we would go to.
No, we're not. I'm just saying there's got to be we don't go to the bar. We go to the
grill. We go to the grill part of the bar and grill. You know that's true.
We're there for the half price apps.
Yeah. Oh, hey, it's Thursday. Half price wings. I'm there. But if it's on somewhere, I am watching it. It's entertaining to watch a sport, especially sports you don't usually watch. And, you root for your country, and it's fun. I have no desire to seek it out. I have no time to sit and watch the Olympics.
Is your thought on the Olympics and your participation or lack of participation, is it in any way, shape, or form affected by the opening ceremonies?
Yeah, a little bit. It makes me more aware that they're happening, first of all. So in that sense, they succeeded. But it also makes me want to not support it. My dad was talking about this, and we were just like, but how do they even know you're watching it at all anyway? Unless you're wearing a meter, nobody knows. So you're not hurting them by not watching it unless they know. So you kind of nailed my sentiment in your first segment when you were saying it's like this collective eye roll about this attention-grabbing nonsense that people are doing.
When you watch it, I mean, is it shocking for a second, and then you're like, well, of course.
That's exactly my reaction. Exactly.
You know what would have been shocking? Is if they would have come out and actually depicted the Lord's Supper and been like, Jesus is Lord.
That's what, yeah.
Everybody been like, whoa.
What?
And then imagine how mad people would be.
They just quickly sweep over like a landscape, and one of them is like Golgotha, and you're like, oh, Christ is Lord. And they just pass you real quick. And you go, whoa, what was that? That would shock me. This does not shock me. This is really kind of what I expect from some random Western European Olympics.
Are you watching the Olympics, yes or no?
No.
And really not much of a change. It's hard to know.
I wasn't
than you
anyway.
were. Brad?
I really only like sports when they're live, and the time zones don't work out, so I'm not watching them. I'm not going to watch them on replay.
Brad's got a time zone conflict.
I like that. I like that. Different take.
I don't like watching recorded sports. If I know that a game is happening live, I will pick up, and if I miss half the game, I miss half the game, but I'll start up right where it starts. And
that's why, as much as I love Kurt Russell, I did not watch Miracle. I was like, I know how this ends. I'm not going to watch this.
I just wish you all at home could watch Ryan think of this joke.
Oh, yeah. I'm
and
like, me, right here.
I'm trying to get in. I got to get in. I got to get this joke in.
Right here.
Brad, stop talking.
Stop. It's my turn. We only got till 2.
I got jokes.
Do you feel as though the intention of the Olympic ceremony opening show was specifically to mock Christianity?
Ooh.
Pastor.
I think maybe it was. I think that it was. It seems to be in vogue right now.
Here is a follow-up question, which I want you to think broadly about this. If the intention was to mock Christianity, I mean, to me, as a Christian, and it's important to identify myself as a Christian when I say this, because if you're like hearing me say this and you're not a Christian and then you're disagreeing with me, we just have different foundations. Everything is either created to glorify God or to mock God. And there are very few things that come across your television that are set to glorify God.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe some things are a little more on the nose. But if you set aside Christianity in this conversation and you look at what was depicted there, I'm not an expert in Jewish theology. I'm not an expert in Islam, but I don't really feel like those religions would look at that and be like, this is glorifying Yahweh, Allah, other God here. Am I wrong?
Nah. I agree with your assessment, because I say this too, that really all things are spiritually based. But if you want to get past the like really foundational motivations for people in general, when they got together and said, let's come up with something for the Olympic opening ceremony, I think what they probably said was, let's do something edgy that's going to get us a lot of attention and not have any consequences.
What is even... I don't know who these people are.
Exactly.
There's nobody who participated in that I'm like, I want to know that person's name. I want to know where that person does more of that. It's just the Olympics. I mean, you really made a bold statement on behalf of a platform that's going to absorb the positive and the negative reaction alike, and then you kind of get to walk away. In that instance, it's kind of lame. But take out... Okay, so we've talked about Christian faith, we've talked about other faiths. Make it completely secular. Is it possible to look at that as somebody who has no faith walk whatsoever? This is it. You're on earth until you're not, and then you turn to dust. Are you looking at that going, gosh, that was great, kids? Like, you DVR'd it, and it's so great, and you're like calling the whole family in. I mean, is that really what a secular, moral society wants for their culture to be consumed in the broadest of senses?
Yeah, I think there is a section of culture, I don't want to say American culture, but we'll say Western culture.
I don't think it's non-American.
No, that what really celebrates that stuff, because it's that boogeyman that they've created out of what used to be sort of conservatism / Christian / traditional America that doesn't exist anymore, that they keep thinking they need to knock down.
It's the foil they need.
Yeah, and so they keep coming after it. When they do, they feel like they're accomplishing something, and like they're progressive. That's progressivism. And it's really, I hate to say this because I want to be more, like, we're on the radio, I want to be more bombastic about it. It's just lame. It's when I watch that and I think the Olympic opening ceremony is an opportunity for people to do big artistic things that are on a global stage. If that's what you chose, among other things, you just suck. Like you're boring. You're doing the same thing that's been. You're fighting the same battles that everybody's already fought and basically won. You're just boring. And when I see that, I roll my eyes for the same reasons we were just talking about, because you've seen this kind of stuff so much that it doesn't surprise you anymore. And you almost expect that on a global stage, when we're celebrating globalism and global community, you're like, of course, that's what they're going to put on there.
What's interesting is whenever you generally watch Olympic opening ceremonies, it's a celebration of two things. It's a celebration of the athletes that are there, and then it's also a celebration of the host country. So, Annie, you talked about the Greek statues at the Athens Olympic opening ceremony. I mentioned Mr. Bean at London's,
You should more.
There was, you go back to Beijing, and I remember that they celebrated Chinese history and that, all of that stuff. And so France is like, hey, check us out. And this is what is like, this has nothing to do with France. Like, if you're talking about a celebration of Bacchus, the Roman god of hedonism, like, that's not France.
Wait, you sure? Rome's not in France?
It really was. It's just like, hey, let's see if we can just get away with the shock value of it all. And who can we twist the knife at, and who can we needle and get away with at it? And it's like, all right, we can needle the Christians. Let's do that, and we'll make something really shocking.
There's another possibility here, though. And this one's way less exciting to talk about. But if you live in a world that is super consumed with this LGBTQ plus activism, acceptance, DEI is a strong, good thing, so on and so forth. If DEI was as good of what they said it was, Kamala Harris would be saying to the world, I am a DEI hire, and if they wouldn't have given somebody like me a chance to do this, you wouldn't have all of the successes I've brought to you. Go with that one. But, if you live in that small world, those people, there are people in Christian spaces who do not understand the world that exists that was displayed on the Olympic ceremonies. And there are people who live in that world who do not understand. They're not exposed to people who are, Midwestern conservative Christians like we are. There is a lack of understanding there. And what we've been told from the other side, which first started with the word tolerance, which was big in the 90s, maybe even the 80s. The idea of tolerance, you were supposed to tolerate people who weren't like you. You're supposed to tolerate them. They're not even tolerant of us. And we're not like them. And we don't need to be like them. And if you were going to be inclusive, you would at minimum tolerate Christians and not do things that were in direct opposition of them. But they don't even, I don't think that they even really understand that people like us exist and that we really are committed to it. It's really who we are. They tend to think in the activist world that we exist only to hate them. That's the only purpose of somebody who walks our life is to hate them. And it's just emphatically not true. And there's an essence of ignorance that exists on both sides where you don't understand the other person to the point sometimes I think you forget that they even exist. And then you do something like mock the Last Supper and you're like, why are they mad? I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Go vote in the YouTube poll. Let us know if you're watching the Olympics. We'll be right back.
Attention Missouri Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care with help preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid instantly after every shift. It's all funded by Medicaid and 100% free to you. Call now to check your eligibility. New to Medicaid, the Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 5,000 five-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. This service is free to you through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers are paid instantly. So go to freedomcare.com or call 314-557-7915. 314-557-7915. 314-557-7915.
I'm Robert Cornejo. It is an honor to serve as judge for St. Charles County, the community that I am proud to be raising my family in. In my courtroom, I follow the Constitution and the rule of law. I'm not here to legislate from the bench. I'm here to ensure justice is carried out efficiently and fairly. My number one priority as a judge is to make sure this is a safe community for families like mine.
Robert Cornejo served in the Missouri House, where he defended the sanctity of life, prevented illegal immigrants from receiving taxpayer-subsidized tuition, fought against big government, and strengthened our Second Amendment rights. Judge Robert Cornejo is endorsed by the St. Louis County Police Association and Eastern Missouri Coalition of Police for his work to keep St. Charles County safe. Judge Cornejo also has the support of local firefighters.
When you cast your vote, I hope that you will allow me, Judge Robert Cornejo, to be the next circuit judge for St. Charles County.
Paid for by friends of Robert Cornejo. Allison Onder, Treasurer.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Onder Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The search for a motive. I'm John Saucier, Fox News, getting some new details about the shooter and the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Fox's CB Cotton reports from Butler, Pennsylvania.
The FBI now telling us that the would-be assassin Thomas Matthew Crooks was highly intelligent, but also a loner. And we've got a new chilling detail from federal investigators who say the explosives found in Crooks' car could have exploded, but the receivers were in the off position. The FBI says from the spring of 2023 through the first half of this year, Crooks made 25 online gun purchases and 6 online chemical precursor purchases, all using aliases and encrypted accounts in an effort to go unnoticed.
The acting director of the Secret Service expected to testify before the Senate committees on Tuesday. President Biden proposing some new reforms for the Supreme Court. Fox's David Spunts in Washington, D.C.
3 big changes the administration wants to make. The first is no immunity for crimes a former president committed in office, term limits for Supreme Court justices, and a binding code of conduct for the Supreme Court. Now, the first would require a change to the actual Constitution in the form of an amendment. The second proposed change, term limits for justices. Right now, justices on the Supreme Court enjoy lifetime tenure. President Biden wants that to change, writing, the president supports a system in which the president would appoint a justice every 2 years to spend 18 years in active service on the Supreme Court. Now, the third and final change, a binding code of conduct for Supreme Court justices, but the key phrase, a code that is enforceable.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says these proposals are dead on arrival. And don't look now, we're just 99 days away from Election Day. So much has happened in just the last couple of weeks. Former President Donald Trump had a rally in St. Cloud, Minnesota on Saturday, and there's some excitement for Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign. It's been stronger amongst Democrats. She's raised $200 million so far. America's listening to Fox News.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
A mix of clouds and sunshine going through our Monday afternoon. Hot and very humid. Couple of scattered thunderstorms still lingering. 92 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm and humid, 78. Tuesday, sunny, hot and humid, 97. 79 for the low on Tuesday night. The city may only get down to 82. Wednesday, sunny, hot and humid, near 100. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Ready to turn your home into a digital racetrack? Buckle up for i3 Broadband's advanced whole home Wi-Fi. Picture this, lightning-fast internet in every nook and cranny. No dead zones, no lag, just pure connectivity. Whether you're binge-watching in the living room or video calling from the basement. All with no contracts, no hidden fees, just insane speeds. Plus our no-risk 30-day money-back guarantee. Hit us up at 877-976-0711 or zoom over to i3broadband.com/STL. We're local, reliable, and turbocharging your internet life.
By now, you've heard Adam Schnelting's false attack ads. Don't buy his lies. Adam Schnelting says he opposes the transgender
transgender agenda, but he's trying to conceal the truth. Schnelting has received more than $71,000 from liberal trial lawyers. Those same trial lawyers supporting Schnelting also gave over $100,000 to a liberal group that supports men playing girls' sports, supports men using girls' bathrooms, and even supports gender mutilation surgeries for minors. To make matters worse, Adam Schnelting says he supports our gun rights, but he's received thousands from leading anti-gun lawyers that filed a massive lawsuit against gun makers and gun owners. But that's not all. These liberal lawyers don't just fund Adam Schnelting's campaign, their anti-gun lawsuits, or the transgender movement. They've also been leading funders of Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and even the Joe Biden-Kamala Harris ticket. Adam Schnelting. With friends like that, conservatives just can't trust him. On August 6th, don't forget Adam Schnelting. He's loved by liberals, and he lies like one too.
Gladius PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Gladius PAC, and is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
I want to direct your attention to JenTeskeyHomes.com, TESKE, JenTeskeyHomes.com. And I want you to understand the power of RE/MAX Alliance and the Jen Teskey team. If you are looking to buy a home on the Illinois side, if you're looking to sell a home on the Illinois side, Jen Teskey and her team with RE/MAX Alliance, they're waiting for your phone call. 618-541-1010. 618-541-1010. They are incredibly familiar with the Illinois area. They specialize in the Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, Maryville, Troy, Collinsville, and so on areas. So right now, we've heard that prices are pretty high for homes. And if you've been thinking about selling, you want to make sure that you don't miss the opportunity to get top dollar for your home. You need to go with an expert, somebody who has the experience, a team that is going to back up all the effort that needs to be put into making sure your home can sell for top dollar. And when you reach out to 618-541-1010, you're going to have the right team on your side. You can find them online at jenteskeyhomes.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Celebrate National Carpet Cleaning Month with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129 and the 4th room free. And take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Call now, 314-474-2020, or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Missouri, it's time to vote. The Missouri primary is August 6th, and early voting is happening now. Make your voice heard. Cast your vote in the Missouri primary. Democracy 2024. It's happening now on 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
What's he talking about?
Well, he's speaking to me as a Christian who hates and is so tired of voting. I mean, I'll do it, but I don't like it. And
Just
so
this once.
I'll do it this once.
What's he talking about?
I don't know. That's
No
one of the
idea.
kookiest clips from the weekend.
I've seen the mainstream media is turning this around and blah, blah, blah. And they showed one clip of him saying that and then another one. And they're like, you see his head turn at the end? And I was like, I didn't see it.
What were they implying?
It's, I don't know, that his head tilt made something different.
Okay.
It's a racist dog whistle.
See, this is where I think I don't think I'm actually 99.9% sure that Trump isn't saying this is the last election we're going to have. But
Yeah.
What's he doing?
I'm not sure. I think he was, my guess is that he was saying, I think something happened to him at the assassination attempt where he's had a little bit of like a, wow, God really protected me. And he was getting all jazzed up because he was talking to Christians and he's like, look, hey, I'm with you now. But he was just kind of rambling. Like, just go vote because I'm a Christian, you know? Like, we're the same.
Josh says, what's he talking about? He's saying my presidency is going to be so good that you'll never have to worry about politics again. Standard Trump bombast, move on. I can see why people would be like, move on. Quickly.
Yeah.
I just, these are things that he says that I'm like, no, wait a minute. Even if it makes obvious, clear sense, the dude does not think he's going to be a dictator. No. That's not it. I think that Donald Trump knows what agitates the other side and he can't help himself. And I'm like, could you help yourself a little bit? Because it would help me. But it's interesting to me that he says things like this, and then we just see a flood of the most predictable comments from the people on the left. We're like, see each other like foaming at the mouth. And it's like, no, that isn't it. I find that oh man, this is so subjective. So maybe it's completely not a fair statement. So I predicate what I'm about to say with that. The right and the Republicans, at least currently, not really when I was growing up, but currently, have a sense of humor and a punkness to them that the left doesn't have. The left has the ability to see over anything they hate and despise, and they seem to gain the most joy over a collective bonding of disgust over anything conservative, right, or Republican, or Trump. And everything comes back to that. Always. The first inclination that somebody who is hopelessly politically driven on the left is to think Trump. As is evidenced by Keith Olbermann wanting to cancel the St. Louis Cardinals because Biscuit put his hand in the air after he hit a home run. Talking about Alec Burleson.
Biscuit, yeah.
And his former existence as a DJ rapper who, for whatever particular reason, went by the name Biscuit. And they're like, Trump, I see Trump everywhere. I can't make it stop. The St. Louis Cardinals, they have to be ended. I mean, most people want to end the St. Louis Cardinals for other reasons because we used to be perpetually, annoyingly good. I would like to get back to that hatred.
Yeah, me too.
No kidding.
Instead of the Keith Olbermann, the sage wisdom that is his to impart upon people saying that they should just get rid of the St. Louis Cardinals because they dared to acknowledge Donald Trump, which is not even what happened.
How does one become a dictator?
I don't know. See Venezuela. It's happening right now.
Yeah, but you'd have to cheat in elections. And one thing that Trump has talked about a lot that he doesn't like is cheating in elections. So does he just say, no, I'm not leaving, and that's it? And everybody goes, darn it? Or what? You know, it just seems like it's a lot of fear about something that would be really tough to do.
You'd have to really, that's too overt. That's too obvious. You'd have to do it more in a way where you kind of have a handshake agreement with people who are sort of in the background to make the moves, to make sure that it was more consistent than having to rely on the people to like name the dictator. You'd kind of have to pick them.
Mm. Okay, well, then I guess at least we come back in full circle here. At least this is the last time we'll have to vote.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing, too, is that you cannot get away with any of that if you don't control the messenger. If you are incapable of controlling the people who are out there to truth tell, the media, you can't do it because people will tell on you. If you could control that, though, then that would be a problem.
You like you could lie for a long time and get away with it because you had coverage from kind of like the powers that be in the media.
And if anyone challenged you, you would just call them names and say that they were like a threat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when people do participate in that and fund the background of silencing media, you could, dabble in the idea of suggesting that anybody who said anything against it's just muddies the waters a lot. So people can take advantage of those situations where there's money being invested and questions being called into the open about whose voice can you really trust, when money is involved and politics are involved. Anybody who would take advantage of that situation, that's a pretty low blow.
To accomplish that, though, wouldn't you really have to censor dissent? Wouldn't you have to have a ministry of truth that kind of oversaw the messages that were out there and make sure that they were consistent with the one you wanted?
And you'd have to permit other people who are dissenting in an approved way and almost glorify it. Say, these are brave people. Venezuela, right?
Yeah, it's weird. You look at another country and you go, gosh, they're so far down that rabbit hole. Good thing we're not going that way. Feels good to be an American in that sense.
Scooter said heritage is the think tank behind the dictatorship. Have another cup of Kool-Aid, Scooter.
Huh. So, they're controlling all the mainstream outlets.
When it comes to Project 2025, it's very strange to me that the Project 2025, which is a list of conservative ideals, which is a product of a conservative think tank that a lot of conservatives support because they donate to them to make conservative ideals come to be. There's a way that we skip over the understanding that 50% of this country is conservative, moderate to conservative. 50% of this country is moderate to progressive. So we exist on both sides of the aisle. Project 2025 is a classic Solinsky way of using words and vocabulary to sum up and manifest an enemy. Because people unite against an enemy. People don't usually care to unite if there's no common enemy. I mean, you just kind of want to be like, I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to take care of me. I want to put my feet up tonight. I don't want to have to go to battle. But if there's a common enemy, you don't have time to put your feet up. You got to go to battle all the time. You got to be on your guard all the time. And I know in a lot of ways that George Soros has been the name that has been used as the common enemy of the right. And you can look where the money goes. He is investing in politicians, Kim Gardner, among many others, and entities that he feels will be a means to his natural political end that he sees to be beneficial for whatever particular outcome he's searching for. And when you use his name, the left is very aggressively defensive against that, to the point where they do the very predictable thing, which is to label people racist. If you you can't talk about George Soros because he's Jewish. So if you criticize him, you're an anti-Semite. But you also can't defend and support Israel right now in the same breath, because I can't keep up, folks.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I'm not one of you. I don't get it.
You can burn an effigy of Netanyahu last week outside of Congress, and that's free speech. Though.
Brave, bold.
Okay. Just making sure I'm following.
Hateful. First Amendment.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy is what gets under that's the most bipartisan emotion, I think, that Americans have. Not the people who are on the far, far right, not the people who are on the far, far left. The people who are in the moderate middle, dipping a little bit into the left wing, dipping into a little bit of the right wing. People hating hypocrisy is a universal language. And we have so much of it right now. And going back to the idea that you would have a Project 2025 that is created by a conservative think tank, it's not like the United States federal government created Project 2025 and was like, this is what needs to be implemented, because that's the type of baloney sausage that has been coming out of the left for quite some time. The bureaucracy that exists in the federal government right now, massively grown under both Democrat and Republican presidencies, the bureaucracy of the federal government that is paid for by you creates and sustains these types of policies, and they're never elected or unelected. That's how you get things like domestic terrorist Catholics. So if you're living in a world where you understand that part of the reality is that Catholics have been listed as domestic terrorists, you can understand why people would have a quick trigger when they see the Last Supper being depicted by an entire who's whom among the LGBTQ community in a way where you're over-sexualizing the Olympic Games with a child on stage, and you're like, well, this tracks. And then the left does what the left does, and they go, oh, you guys, everything's not about religion. This is about history. This is about art. Open your mind. Dude, my mind has been open. And going back to what I said before, even if you take the Last Supper out of it, even if you take religion out of it, it is still not an appropriate display, and you can morally look at that and go, that's not really for me. I didn't tune in to see the relay or whatever it is, or Simone Biles do her amazing things for this. That's not even in this. How did you put this together? Why were you like, this is what the people need? This is ridiculous. It's absurd. But when you understand that culture and American culture, because there are two things that are going on here. This is a world stage. This is a global culture event through the lens of American politics. And when you understand in American politics that the idea of being a Christian, an outspoken Christian right now, is an isolated class in the United States of America. Christians have been told since Christians were around that they were not wanted, that they were wrong, that they were, judgmental, that they were hypocrites. That's the existence of Christians. That's not new information. But we have recent studies and facts and examples of how our own elected government in the United States of America, which is of us, they don't exist to rule us until they do. Where they say, we're isolating you. We are tracking you. We are going to spy on you. We are going to imprison you. That's happened. That's just a fact. And to think if any single one of those things that I just listed happened to people in a different community, not the Christian community, maybe the LGBTQ community, what would happen in this country if somehow or another there were, like drag queens were put on a domestic terrorist list? Would we know about that? Would that be talked about? Would there be any?
I'm computing. Yeah, I think the mainstream media might carry that one.
Yeah. Christians are used to sitting quietly for too long and you don't have to attack as much as you have to first defend and speak up. I do find it very interesting how many people are, regarding the Olympic thing, very bothered by other people saying, I'm not watching that. Like, what do you care? What does it matter to you what I do with my time? Like I said at the very beginning of the show, I'm not watching the Olympics anyway, not on purpose. I don't, in my house, if they were on, if my kids were watching them, I don't think I would be like, we're turning that off. There are things that I would do that for. I don't think the Olympics would be one of them. But if people do want to turn it off, why do you care? Isn't the whole idea to be open to other people's walks of life? And if somebody else gets to police all of my thoughts and constantly check me for whether or not I'm righteous enough to be around you, haven't you just inverted the whole system that you originally hated? That somebody's dogma gets to overrule everybody all the time and you can call on it at any time to isolate somebody. Isn't that what you hated to begin with? Because I think it is. And it's hypocrisy. And people hate it. Let's take a quick break. Go vote in the YouTube poll. Are you watching the 2024 Olympics? Yes or no? We will get to the results of that in about 25 minutes, I say. 24 minutes. And we'll tell you how many people here listening to this show are participating in watching the Olympics. We'd love to know what you think about it, too. You can leave your comments on the Annie Fry YouTube poll. On X, Linda said, not watching Olympics for the first time in my life. And Helen said, yes, but I'm also looking into supporting C-Spire, who immediately withdrew their ads from the Olympics in response to the opening ceremony. So I guess in that situation, it's complicated. Let us know what you think. We'll be right back.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Cassins and Sons, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. If you're interested in buying a vehicle, if you've started the process to look, or if you need one real fast, I ensure you that when you visit Cassins, they're located in Glen Carbon, Illinois, a mile north on 159, just a mile north of 270. So get on 270, hop off at 159, drive north. You'll find them right there. They are going to treat you in a way that's going to have you coming back for more. When you need to buy your next vehicle, when you need service for your car, I get my oil changes there. I trust them with the vehicle and have had a great relationship with them over the course of multiple vehicles. And yeah, I've purchased these vehicles when I wasn't directly endorsing them. I trust them with my investment. I trust them with my family in the cars that they sell me, and I trust them to give me a great price. The salespeople at Cassins, they've been there for a long time, and they've sold vehicles to generations of families. Start with yours as well. You can call them directly at 618-800-2712, 618-800-2712. Tell them Annie sent you and tell them what you're looking for, 618-800-2712. But you can also visit them online, again, in Glen Carbon, but online at CassinsSons.com.
Summer is here, which means pool days, beach trips, and yeah, you guessed it, traffic jams. Oh yeah, and heat waves. Don't let summer catch you by surprise. Get the local news you need, no matter what you're up to, with the free Odyssey app. And never miss a beat with alerts on breaking stories sent directly to your phone. Listen today on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
I'm sitting here checking the weather coming up this week. Looks like high 60s as low and 80 to mid 80s as a high. So if you are putting off putting your air conditioner in because of the heat and you didn't want your house to get so warm while the process is going on, this will be the best time to have that done and have your air conditioner put in and get ready for the heat wave that we get here in St. Louis. Or if you haven't had your air conditioning checked, or you noticed that it wasn't cooling as good as you expected, or you wanted, or you need it, call me. It's Bart Inman, one easy number, Illinois and Missouri. The easiest number, 314-293-2600. It's Bart Inman, 314-293-2600, or the internet, bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
During the COVID years, I was very disappointed by weak leadership dictating COVID tyranny and ridiculous, nonsensical rules. We had lost over 300,000 school days in St. Charles County that the children will never get back. The closing of businesses and mandates were unconstitutional and complete government overreach. I will always fight for your constitutional rights and your God-given freedoms and liberty. I'm Joe Brazel, and I'm running for St. Charles County Council District 2. Vote August 6th. Thank you, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Citizens for Joe Brazel, Mike Summers, Treasurer.
It's time to get your body in shape for the warm weather, and Victory Men's Health can help. Mark Cox here for my friends at Victory. They've got semaglutide for ladies and men, and all you need to do is go to victorymenshealth.com to find out more. They've got 4 convenient locations now: Sunset Hills, Wing Haven, Town and Country, and O'Fallon, Illinois. A simple blood test, and you could be on the path to losing up to 15% of your body weight. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to victorymenshealth.com.
If your credit card bills have gotten out of hand, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates on your credit cards are so high, it'll take years to get out of debt. Call Consolidated Credit now. They've helped over 10 million people without destroying your credit. They can reduce your interest rates, lower your total payments up to 50% to get you out of debt fast. For a free consultation, call Consolidated Credit now. The program works.
Call 800-210-4298. 800-210-4298. 800-210-4298.
Consolidated Credit Solutions Incorporated, 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida 33313. Licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Kansas CSO 0019051. Maryland DM 1492. Oregon DM 892. Licensed by the Virginia State Corporation Commission License Number TC83. Service may adversely affect the individual's credit. Non-payment of debt may lead to additional finance charges or collections activity, including legal action. Actual interest rates, length of program, and monthly payment reductions will vary by consumer and creditor. Yours could be higher or lower. Not a loan company. We do not lend money.
At Stifel, we put everything into the success of our advisors.
so they can put everything into your success. That means more than just building you a portfolio. It means we're invested in you and your future. And it means taking a personalized approach to managing your wealth. That's why Stifel is once again the top-ranked wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction. Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE. For JD Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk is online, and you can stream it on your phone anytime. Just download the Odyssey app, and 97.1 is one button away. 97.1 FM Talk on the Odyssey app.
Get ready to go crazy right here.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Here we go. I'm a real
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
kind of guy, or if I try to build a fire, I'll burn the woods. I ain't a mover or shaker, can't keep up with the pacer. Never met a dance floor that ever did me any good.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. The president, and by the president, just to be specific, I mean Biden,
Okay.
is going to reform the Supreme Court.
Does he know?
He said it.
Okay.
He has no authority whatsoever to do any of this. This is from Yahoo News. President Biden on Monday unveiled 3 proposals aimed at reforming the United States Supreme Court to combat what he called the, quote, increasing threats to America's democratic institutions, which is always good when the executive branch tries to take over one of the other co-equal branches. Aimed at restoring, quote, trust and accountability to the court and our democracy. Number 1, the no one is above the law amendment. It's good that the executive office is like, hey, Supreme Court.
No one's above the law except me.
In an op-ed for the Washington Post outlining his proposals, Biden said he is proposing a constitutional amendment that would make clear that there is no immunity for crimes a former president committed while in office. Wouldn't that just be challenged at the Supreme Court?
You can't just overturn a ruling.
Yeah. Also, there's no way in heck. I think you need 2/3 of both. It's not happening. We couldn't agree on a 2/3 in the House and the Senate that, like, Christmas is fun.
Yeah, this is stupid.
Biden says he shares our founders' belief that the president's power is limited, not absolute. We are a nation of laws, not of kings or dictators. It's funny how the only threat to democracy comes when the Democrats don't get their way.
So he's worried about the overuse of the executive. Like, he's worried about himself having too much power.
So he's going to change the Supreme
So he's
Court.
going to change anybody that disagrees with him. the laws.
The Supreme Court says, hey, the Constitution says that you can't do that. And he goes, you know what? I'm going to change the Constitution so that you can't tell me what to do. And that's going to save democracy.
Number 2, term limits for justices. We have had term limits for presidents for nearly 75 years. We should have the same for Supreme Court justices. Under the president's proposal, a president, quote, would appoint a justice every 2 years to spend 18 years in active service on the Supreme Court. Term limits would help ensure that the court's membership changes with some regularity, Biden said. That would make the timing for court nominations more predictable and less arbitrary. It's not arbitrary.
Yeah, I guess.
It would reduce the chance that any single presidency radically alters the makeup of the court for generations to come. I wonder if he'd have had 3 Supreme Court justices, if he'd still be doing this at the end of his term.
Yeah, I wonder too.
I don't, actually.
I think I'm glad that he dislikes the idea of a single president upending the way that the Supreme Court operates.
Imagine focusing on Supreme Court term limits before Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you ask the people who would have to vote to put term limits on the Supreme Court to put term limits on themselves first?
Ooh, I like that.
Thank you.
I actually don't mind this discussion, but it's one that you have to have. You can't just do an executive order.
Well, the thing about it is the Supreme Court's lifetime appointment, that's in the Constitution. You would need to amend the Constitution to put term limits on it.
It's not going to happen. Code of conduct. That's the third point. Under Biden's proposal, justices, quote, would be required to disclose gifts, refrain from public political activity, and recuse themselves from cases in which they or their spouses have financial or other conflicts of interest. Currently, all federal judges in the United States are bound by an enforceable code of conduct, but for those on the Supreme Court, the ethics code is voluntary and self-enforced. The proposal follows the revelations that Justice Clarence Thomas and his wife received hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuition and secret consulting fees from the conservative billionaires and conservative judicial activists. Having a binding ethics code for the Supreme Court, Biden said, is, quote, common sense.
These are all things that do sound like common sense. Well, not all of them, but that one does. But the question you always follow up with is, who's enforcing that over the Supreme Court? Because somebody would have to, and that would put them above the Supreme Court. So you have to answer that question in the same breath as suggesting that it exists.
The proposals have an uphill battle in a divided Congress, particularly in an election year and from a president who is not running for re-election. It's a sad sentence. If you were like, yeah, that's right, Biden. This is 100% a political talking point and fodder for campaigns. The Supreme Court, in my opinion, was what got Donald Trump elected in 2016. Mitch McConnell being of centermost importance in saying that they weren't going to put Merrick Garland. What a move! That Merrick Garland was not going to get considered Obama's appointee. Obama did get his appointment. Obama made an appointment, and the Senate is there to take that up and approve it, and the Senate chose not to. That is in their purview, clearly in their purview. And dodged a bullet there. So when the Supreme Court was on the ballot in 2016, I think that heavily. I mean, when people were thinking Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump was an unknown factor. Hillary Clinton was a very known factor. And I think that a lot of people, and again, that was at the top of my list. There was no way that I was going to put a Supreme Court justice pick in the hands of Hillary Clinton. Think about where our country would be right now if she would have appointed those 3 spots.
I don't want to.
It's dramatic. Well, that's where we are right now. This election will be the same. Do you want Kamala Harris or Donald Trump to be able to cover? I mean, they're begging. Is it Sotomayor or Kagan that they're asking to step down? One of them is. They're saying that she needs to step down because they want Biden to be able to replace her. And I mean, we're really kind of past that point.
I think it's Kagan.
Yeah, whichever one's older, it would be. This whole issue is weird because I was reading these same headlines this morning and thinking probably the same thing that you were just kind of alluding to, that they're making this a campaign issue. They want to make the Supreme Court a campaign issue. But I don't know that that's the right message this year, because that does turn out your base. But what it sounds like, at least when I was reading the headlines, it all reminded me of court packing, because it was like dramatically change the Supreme Court and all this. Well, if America hears court packing, that's not popular. People don't like dramatic changes to the institutions. That's one of them. So if they make this an issue, it might turn out your base a little bit, but it's not going to bring out anybody else.
I don't think that this is what happens when you have a supportive media that will agree and nod along with whatever you say. If you understand the founding fathers and why they made each branch of government so distinctly different, the reason why Supreme Court justices have lifetime appointments is so that they can only be bound by the Constitution. So that they can truly adhere and focus on the Constitution, the intention of the Constitution. Do you apply it broadly? Do you apply it narrowly? Whatever the case in front of them might dictate. But that it's so that they don't have to focus on elections or anything outside of the purview of what a Supreme Court justice needs to decide. And they're the only branch of government that does that, because that's a lot of power. But they don't get there without A, being appointed by one branch, and B, being approved by the other. So, I can think of conservative presidents who have appointed justices that conservative voters are a little less enthralled with at this point in time. But that's the nature of that's the purpose of that branch of government. And I think that the distinction from one to one to one is important. It's not to make it like when I hear people in politics say, well, every other civilized nation does X, Y, and Z. When America doesn't, just because you're telling me that other countries do, that is in no way, shape, or form at the top of my list of, oh, that's what we should do that. It's actually kind of the opposite. I don't think that there's any, I mean, if the Democrats win this election, I have no doubt in my mind that they will do everything they can to expand government and to continue to fundamentally transform it. But I also don't think that anything that he's listing here with the Supreme Court is a realistic expectation that will actually be able to happen without you'd have to have a massive blue wave and a Harris presidency or whoever the nominee is in order to get something like that to happen.
Yeah. So in other words, there's no way it'll be Joe Biden doing it. So he's just promoting it for the sake of a possible blue wave with Kamala Harris. Because Mike Johnson already said, this ain't happening in the House. Keep dreaming.
I mean, the purpose of Joe Biden for the rest of this campaign is to help Kamala Harris get elected. I mean, I don't even think that he's functioning as the president of the United States any more than he ever was before. But now that it's kind of like we've called it out, it's out in the open. And I guess people are okay with that. Do you want to see... Do you believe Joe Biden is acting as the president of the United States right now? Is he calling the shots?
No, not at all.
I haven't believed that since he was elected.
Same. Do you think he should have to step down?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm trying to come up with reasons why he wouldn't. I can't come up with any. I cannot find a.
To use the phrase
logical
personal
reason.
ambition.
But any argument that I would try to make that would say, yeah, he should stick it out, is undercut by the fact that he cannot do the job. And everybody knows it, and everybody knows that he can't campaign. So how can you say that he could be the president of the United States? You just can't.
If you're not doing the job, then you don't get the title. The president of the United States isn't a figurehead position. It is leader of the free world. It is the chief executive of the United States. And if you're not doing that, if you can't do that, then yes, step down and put somebody in place, because we didn't vote for your cabinet. We didn't vote for your staffers.
You voted for your wisdom to pick the right ones. But it starts with you.
Right. And then if you're not making the final say, then who is the buck stopping with on all these decisions that are being made? Do they just go up to the individual cabinet member and then that's where it stops? Who's in charge?
Somebody.
Ultimately, who has the final say? And if there's one person that has the final say and it isn't Joe Biden, who did we vote for? No, he should step down. He should get out of it.
Do you believe the reports that they told him over the weekend, like he had a week to think about it, but that they were going to pull the 25th Amendment on him?
Yeah, I've read that too.
Do you believe it?
Yeah, I do.
Chuck Schumer was asked about it. I don't know if I have that clip here, but he was asked about his conversations with the president, like what he said or whatever, and all he started saying is he has had an amazing presidency.
Yeah.
And he repeated it, and he repeated it. And then he repeated it. And then they pushed back a little bit, and he's like, what we need to know here is he's had an amazing presidency. And it's like, you did it, you dirty dog.
Yeah.
You went and said it. And like that's the most appalling thing about all of it. It's not because he can't all of a sudden do the job. It's because he can't win. It's the only reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You went to the American people and sold the American people that Joe Biden was the guy. And then when you realize, I don't think he can do it, you pull the rug out from the American people who voted for him. And then you're going to campaign on Donald Trump being a threat to democracy. No thanks. Pass. Hard pass. Let's take a quick break. We'll get the results of the YouTube poll when we come back. Are you watching the 2024 Olympics? Yes or no? And Ryan has cracked the code on those beeps that you hear on the airlines. You know, if you come clean with this, if you come out in the open with it, they're just going to change the code.
Well, we won't podcast this one then.
Okay.
And
You'd like
you're right.
that.
I'm like Dan Brown here. I'm cracking every code.
All right, Geraldo, when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Fry Show.
Air Comfort Service is there for all of your HVAC needs. When the temperature outside is hot, you want to make sure that the air inside is cool, exactly where your comfort zone is, whether your comfort zone is at 74 in your home or maybe at 65. Whatever you choose, you need an AC unit that's going to provide you that comfort zone that you've invested in. And if your air conditioner hasn't been working the way it's supposed to, if it's working too hard, if it's running too long and not cooling the house, reach out to Air Comfort Service and have them come out and do a checkup, a maintenance checkup, a tune-up on it. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. You can ask them how to keep your HVAC system maintained on the regular for as little as $19 a month. You'll have peace of mind when the extreme heat and humidity arises. They can take care of your whole system to ensure that you don't have any very costly repairs sneak up that could have been mitigated by maybe something significantly smaller. Air Comfort Service has a very, very reputable list of reviews and 5-star ratings that can be, added to the words that I have said as a customer of theirs. You can go research that all you want to see that people trust Air Comfort Service. I trust them in my home, have many times, and encourage you to give them a call for your HVAC system. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. AirComfortService.com.
Paid for by Lori Rook from Missouri. Ryan Rook, Treasurer.
You deserve to know where your tax dollars are really going. You deserve to know about the backdoor deals our politicians are making with lobbyists. And you deserve to know when your elected officials are supporting things that compromise your conservative values. But right now, it's all hidden behind the curtain. As your next Missouri State Treasurer, I will publish the full story of our state's spending in one easy-to-use website. Vote for me, Lori Rook, in the August 6th Republican primary. Because you deserve to know.
Conservative Dave Wassinger is the only pro-Trump Republican running for lieutenant governor. Wassinger is the only candidate endorsed by Missouri Right to Life. And Wassinger is the only candidate for lieutenant governor with the guts to work with Trump to deport illegals. Wassinger's policy on illegal immigration is simple. Come here legally, or it's adios amigos. Listen to conservative pro-Trump Republican Dave Wassinger.
President Trump is right. Illegals break our laws, steal our jobs, and overwhelm our hospitals. It has to stop. As my lieutenant governor, I'll fight to keep Missouri safe and deport illegals. You come here legally, or it's adios amigos.
Dave Wassinger, tough on illegal immigration. Dave Wassinger, pro-Trump. Dave Wassinger, pro-life. Vote Dave Wassinger for lieutenant governor. Paid for by Wassinger for Missouri. Henry Charles Poles, Treasurer.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
I can see clearly now thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and introducing Samuel Berry. You can too. Call 314-966-5000 or check out youridoc.com. That's youridoc.com.
Are you watching the 2024 Olympics? Yes or no? We'll give you the results of the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll in just a couple minutes. And also, that means you have a couple minutes to vote if you haven't. Type in Annie Fry, the YouTube. That poll will come up, and the stream if you want to watch the end of the show here. 2:48. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
MyPillow.com.
Good Monday afternoon. It's Mark Reardon getting set to go here. The Cardinals involved in a three-way trade with the Dodgers and the White Sox. We'll explain that. Scotty Warman from Valley Sports Midwest has the details. We get a former Cardinal back here in St. Louis. That seems to be the trend the whole year. All the details coming up after Fox News. Hang in there.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
It starts with one thing. I don't know why.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Happy Monday. Monday's almost over. That's good news, right?
Yeah, unless you're Mark Reardon.
He will take you on your ride home.
That's right.
And he's the type of soothing, calm voice that you need to ease you out of your workday.
Yeah, he's like listening to one of those old tapes that you did with yoga.
I didn't do tapes of yoga.
What are you talking
But tell us
about?
more.
You know how you sit in a certain state, like, I don't think you'd say Om. I think that's like way into yoga. But I think the old-fashioned yoga was you sit, you calm yourself, and then you listen to Mark Reardon.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I understood it.
Mm-hmm. That's the medicine you need for 2024.
That's what I thought.
It's what I use. 97.1 in my car all the way home.
Yeah. I tape it. You listen to the tapes. That's what I'm saying.
You gotta find the tape.
Yeah, you gotta find it.
Ding.
Turn this tape over. This is some random show of Mark's from the late 90s.
That was actually a segue to the story. You just missed it.
Oh, sorry about that. You did a good job, though.
Thank you. I know.
Yeah, great job.
You, however?
Not so much. So the story
What's the sound
is...
for that? Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, 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 boom.
That's good.
Airplane passengers.
One day I want you to come in here for the whole show and just do sound effects and drops, but with your mouth.
Yeah, like the Police Academy
Tomorrow we got Jim Carafano at 105.
Uh-huh.
Come on in.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in Paris? Yeah. And I'll be like... Because that's Parisian music.
Paris music. I think I've seen what the Parisians do.
Hey, if you
don't do that,
if
don't
you're-
come in here and do that.
If you're
No.
flying to Paris,
Yeah.
you know, these might be some tips.
Wow.
Huh?
Don't pull something stretching that far.
Huh? Airplane passengers, speaking of flying, were blown away after learning that those ubiquitous dings on an airplane are
Sure they're not
actually...
dongs?
Nope, not dongs. You don't want to see those on an airplane. In fact, if you do, you get kicked off right away, even midair. Don't ask me how I know. They're actually a code crew members use to communicate with each other, among other things. Have you figured out what any of these dings mean, Annie? When you're
One
on
of
a
them
plane?
means that you need to buckle your seatbelt. One of them means you can unbuckle your seatbelt. One of them means maybe that the bathroom is in use. One of them means that the plane's going down and you're going to die.
I mean, all these things do exist. Yeah. No, that's 3 dings.
Oh, what? 3 dings?
If you
is
ever
what?
hear 3 dings together, that
Emergency?
is an emergency.
Oh,
They'll
crap.
still sound calm, though. Ding, ding, ding. Then you go, uh-oh.
So you hear the 1, and then you kind of look up, and then you hear the 2, and then you lean forward, and
Uh-huh.
then you just hopefully wait.
Yep. After the 3rd one, you go, okay, I'm going to claw at this thing until my mask drops out.
Put your mask on first.
The clip says that a single ding is when the plane is getting ready to take off or land. And then 2 dings signify that the plane is at a safe altitude to use electronic devices and other provisions. So
What's
if
the
you,
point of having these dings that most people don't know, or are we in the rare group of people who didn't know these?
I think most people did not know them. At least you probably have an idea that something's happening when you hear those, but there's a little bit of a code here. This was the one that I'm like, ooh, I pay attention to this one. A single ding that sounds later on, like in the middle of the flight, indicates to the crew that they should begin the food and drink service.
You'd think that there would be like a light where they were that would just be like, it's good.
Nope.
Not to notify everybody.
Nope. About 5 minutes after takeoff, you'll hear that 2 dings mean that you're getting ready to take off. Or sorry, right before that, you'll hear one that says your plane is ready for takeoff. So until you hear that ding and you're just sitting there on the runway, you're not actually going anywhere. Once you hear that ding, you know, okay, we're in line. We're getting ready to go.
Or you could just look outside.
You could, but that would be
cheating.
Then you wouldn't have to listen to this. You need to listen to this. Take notes.
The thing is moving, but you haven't heard the ding yet, and you're like, no.
No.
Cheap fake.
Hey, wheels up. No ding. Here's
ding.
Here's an important one.
No ding, man.
A high to low beep means like ding ding. Means that one flight attendant is signaling to another that the flight deck is trying to reach them. I don't know why you would need to know this, but I think it's interesting.
What's the flight deck?
I guess that's the cockpit. The cockpit is saying, hey, we need a flight attendant. Ding, ding.
Do they need like a Diet Coke on the rocks?
It doesn't say why they're asking. You never want to hear, to conclude, 3 dings.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
Dang, dang, dang.
Ding, dang, dong. So, there you go.
What does it say that means?
It means that I am on the wrong page for you to ask that question.
You're out of time.
There we go. The tonal trifecta signifies an emergency. I'm glad I got there for that. So now you have all the info you need.
Emergency is a very broad category.
An emergency. It could be anything. But if you hear 3, that doesn't necessarily mean your plane's going down. Maybe some baby is losing his mind behind you or something. I don't know. It could be many different things that would necessitate an emergency.
That sounds like you made that up.
I did make that up. But what about a medical emergency?
Yeah.
Maybe it's that. I don't know. It just says an emergency. So if you see anything happening but you don't hear the dings, don't believe it. If you hear 3 dings, you know you're in trouble.
I wish we had 3 dings for this show right now.
But if the plane
it's going down.
If it nosedives and you see fire everywhere and you don't hear the dings, don't worry about it.
Oh.
You're fine.
Are you watching the Olympics?
I am not watching the Olympics.
Were you going to watch the Olympics?
No.
Brad?
I don't think I was.
Were you a no and you were a no and M&O?
Yeah, I was and still am.
Same. Maybe we just hate our country. That's what some people suggest. That unless you actually pay attention to and watch the athletes, then you hate America.
I'll say this again. Basically, everybody trains in America now anyway. So you're just watching a bunch of people who trained here go compete against each other.
Maybe. Is that fact?
True. Yes.
Aren't there reasons why you would train other places for other
Ding.
things?
Oh, shoot.
Oh, man, the show's over.
We got to go.
Yeah. We asked you on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, 320 votes today, which is wonderful. Are you watching the Olympics? 74% of you said nope, you're not watching it.
Wow, 74.
Yeah. 3 out of 4 not watching the Olympics. Well, we're not going to talk about them a whole lot here. I don't know that this is going to be a topic that continues on, but I was asked a lot about it, so we wanted to get to the bottom of it. If you want to hear my thoughts on it, check the podcast. At the beginning of the show, I talked about the opening ceremonies. Stick around, though. Mark Reardon coming up next on 97.1 FM Talk.
Considering new windows, I want you to talk to my friends at Window World. Mark Cox here. They have got a great deal going for you right now. Up to 36 months financing, interest-free, with approved credit. They've never done this before at Window World, so take advantage of this. Call them today at 314-993-1800. Again, 314-993-1800. You hear me talk about Window World, I'm a satisfied customer. I've got their windows in my house. I've been to their offices and I've stood on these windows. I've seen how well built they are. They go in and they are meant to last. You wouldn't give a lifetime warranty on a product if you didn't think it was going to last for a long time, and they stand behind that warranty. In over 20 years of business, they have helped more than 72,000 customers in St. Louis improve the look and the thermal efficiency of their home. Call them today, get your free estimate, and ask about that 36-month financing, 314-993-1800. or windowworld.com.
Outdoor Living Redefined, brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design, your trusted partner in crafting stunning decks, inviting screened rooms, and elegant porch overhangs. Imagine enjoying a crisp morning coffee on your beautifully designed deck, or hosting gatherings in a spacious screened room. Lakeside turns your vision into reality. Our skilled craftsmen use top-notch materials to create spaces that stand up to the elements and stand out in style. Elevate your lifestyle with Lakeside's outdoor living expertise. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today.
A weak White House, an invasion of illegals, and the woke mob attacking our values. That's what Phil Cristofanelli is fighting for Missouri's future.